Good morning, traders. How we doing out there? Who's ready to get back into the hot seat? It's another week of trading action here on TTP Live, and I'm excited, guys. It's going to be a great one, guys. I'm trying to make the final push for the funded account more than halfway on my eval right now. So we'll be talking more about that as the week keeps going. We'll take a look at different stock trading action around the market right now. There's a lot of action, and it's all on, of course, it's Trump trading day, I'm calling it, because we will be all looking at to see what's going on in with the Trump stocks. The Trump stocks are moving there, and we'll see what happens out there. Of course, the buying power, the 80,000, the limited is the one that I'm talking about. Have you gotten the limited account? Let me know how it's going in the chat, guys. We'll get right to the trading action. Let's go take a look at what stocks are trading right now, what we can get into, and of course, what stocks are on today's playbook. Let's get it started and take a look into the playbook. All right, first up, we're going to go ahead and take a look to see what's going on in some of this action with the playbook action. And of course, one of the things that I'll be looking at right now is, can we continue the rally, right? We had a pretty decent rally going into Friday, right? And so there's a couple of stocks that I want to watch, right? Of course, a lot of these are going to be more kind of towards the Trump trade. And I think that's what we need to be watching today. Can the Trump trade continue, right? And where can that Trump trade take us, right? What stocks will be lifting, right? Is it tech names? Is it industrial names, right? Those types of names are definitely on the radar right now. I'll give you guys three that I'm watching here, but it's not just three names, right? There's tons of action to go through. Today, we're actually going to take some time to go ahead and take a look to see what Trump stocks really get the lift. About halfway during the show, I'll be doing a deep dive into that. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on today's playbook. First one up I want to talk about is AMD. You guys have seen me trade AMD 2 or 3 times last week. So let's talk a little bit about that. Of course, you guys can see it here, how it's getting a nice little lift and could continue pushing. I've been waiting for it to get out of this bottoming area and close the gap. That's exactly what happened last week. Now we can start to approach this green line up here towards 132. It's ways away from here, so I'm looking for a big day for AMD at some point this week. Is it has to be today? No. But at some point, I'm looking for a big day where it can make a move up there about $8 to the 130. Something like that is what I could be seeing coming soon. So definitely AMD on the playbook. All right, let's keep it going. We'll take a look at some other action there. And we got some other ones to look at here. It's not just AMD. Let's go into the playbook here and take a look at what about long Meta trade as we take a look at Meta? And this is all based on what? This is all based on TikTok for me. Of course, we know that TikTok has been going away, and now that it's in the dark, will Meta start to get the lift? Of course, you can see how it's been having this trend line up to the top. This is the trend line that I'm pretty much calling out. If we could go towards it, we could have that nice little breakout above. I'll be watching to see what happens here in Meta and what happens in the TikTok situation. Can that give Meta enough lift to get through that resistance around the 632 and start heading towards the 650? Not a bad one to watch. Another thing to look at the MACD setting up here. It's trying to make that cross. I think we just need one bullish day towards resistance, and then we could probably see that convergence start to happen and start to see that crossover. All right, the last one I'll give you guys is one to take a look at in the industrial space. There's a lot going on here with industrials overall. You can see it here on the XLI, and you can see it with some of the big names, right? Like CAT. You can see it in Deere. You can see it in GE. Now I'm calling a space in the industrial space that isn't looked at too often, of course, but what about the defensive area like Lockheed Martin? So I'm calling a long on Lockheed Martin here as we start to see a turn on this. I've seen the MACD already cross, and now we start to get that push back, right? The 200 moving average in play for me. This is 512s, and that's still a 9% move higher. We'll see what happens with Lockheed Martin. Another reason why I looked at this is I looked at RTX, and I could see the outstanding kind of crossover there with the MACD. Good trend line break, and now continuing with some strength. So the momentum is on RTX. Now the question is, can it continue in the other defensive names. And this is in the industrial sector. So like I said, you could also just watch the XLI and different names there. GE's been doing really well. GEV is one of my favorite ones right now. That's more into your nuclear plays. That's in the utility space, but we'll see what happens there, guys. There's a lot of plays to watch. Of course, NNE still in play. The crypto plays out there like coin. And did you guys see, did you guys get your Trump coin? I wonder if anybody got it in the chat. Let me know in the chat. We'll talk a little bit about this setup too. DJT came down and didn't make the breakout. Now we'll see if it, for some reason, gets hot today, right? Of course, all eyes probably coming off of it a little bit since the inauguration already happened. Will today be the day that it starts to get the motor going? We'll find out, guys. Let's take a look into the market overall. We'll take a look at the Sunrise report coming up in just a little bit. SPY trying to get back there through the 600 when it was just down there at 575 last Monday. So we shook all that bearish action. Quick action up 4% in about 5 bars. That's pretty strong for the SPY. We'll look to see if that rally can keep going, or do we run into a little turbulence? We'll find out. We'll take a look at the sectors that are hot. We can take a look at different stocks. If you guys have something on the radar, you guys want to check it out, like always, guys, throw it up in the chat. I'll be looking for some stocks there, and we'll be going through it. It's good to see you guys out there. Definitely say hello in the chat if you're new. It's good to see you guys out. All right, let's keep it going. We'll take a look at some different action in the market right now. I'm looking around, trying to start taking a look to see what's going to be moving today. And of course, today's one of those days where you just got to watch to see what happens with all the Trump stocks or stocks that could be affected by Trump. Of course, I'll be looking in the financial space a lot. I've been talking about how XLF could have got going last week, and it did just that, right? It was a big move in XLF. It was about 7%. Now I'm taking a look to see if some of these names can just keep riding higher. APM now going higher. Bank of America looks good there. Wells Fargo looks good. Morgan Stanley. There's tons of names here that are looking really strong. So I'd be looking for pullbacks to try to play on that financial space. Look at SoFi. Even SoFi getting a nice little lift from 15, now back there towards 17 and continuing. So SoFi, of course, came out of a base at 10. And as it looks back, I think you continue to watch different names here. Square is one that I'd give an eye out for, as this one has been coming back here, trying to make its way back there towards 100 where it was at. I think this one has potential as long as PayPal can stay strong, and PayPal has been strong. And if anything, making a move here right back towards the highs. So maybe looking to see if PayPal can break through the highs here and then see if Square can just play a little bit of some catch up. We'll see what happens there. Visa, MasterCard also getting the lift back here and continuing to push. MasterCard and Visa haven't taken much hit, and we could start to see them take another step up. All right, we'll see what happens in the regional bank action. That's another thing to look at, the KRE, right? These could start to get a little bit of a push back here, especially if the financials overall will be hot. All right, we'll take a look at some different action out there. Apple being brought up. All right, let's go ahead. Just finished my 20K eval. Did you just pass it? That's what I love to hear. Definitely. I just got a new one of those demo bars. You just got that, man? Hey, congratulations. And we'll take a look at Apple. Definitely. Apple, of course, getting hit today, and there's an actual rating out there. We'll talk a little bit about it. And Apple's down there to 225. It's been a quick downturn. It broke a long-term support trend line, and now I'm looking to see if we can get an undercut and rally off of that. Of course, you can take a look at the weeklies, and you can see here how the weekly support is just underneath this. I would give it closer towards around the 217 and 220 area. So we still have some levels underneath it where we can catch some support. I'm looking for somewhere between that 220 area to 217 as being the bottoming action on Apple, and then a rise back to 250. Not a bad outlook there for Apple. We'll look to see if it can catch a little bit of some love. NVIDIA, of course, last week had a decent week after bouncing back, after really getting pummeled down back to 130. This is one of the biggest stocks that I'll be watching this week to see if we can finally get a little love back towards the resistance. Back towards the resistance can help many names get the lift. Taiwan Semiconductor, another one to watch here. We'll see what happens. There's a lot of inflation talk and tariff talks out there. So definitely, it's exciting out there to keep watch on that, because that's going to give us some trade opportunities that we can't miss out. All right, passed. Exactly. That's what I love to hear, man. Congratulations to you. You know what? You get a little celebratory, right? We'll do a little money rain for you. Congratulations to my man. Looks like he passed the 20K eval, and can't blame you at all, man. It's a great opportunity. Really cheap eval. They went and got you a nice opportunity to actually make money now. So congratulations to you, my friend. Let it rain on you today. Let it rain. And like always, continue your plan, how you got here, right? Write down how you got here, how you made it past this moment, and make sure that when you get into the funded game, you don't change the game. You keep playing it the way that you did it right here. So congratulations to you, my friend. Keep pushing forward and looking to hear big things from that funded account. Go ahead and get that money, man. You know one thing, I'll be rooting for you. All right, let's keep going. We'll take a look at different stocks in the market today, but definitely not a bad thing to hear people getting their evals and taking it to the next level. Qualcomm is another one to keep an eye out for, as it's starting to shake the bearish action. Of course, this one had a kind of a worry situation with the battle with ARM Holdings, but they're both looking good now. So I'd keep these both on the radar. ARM and Qualcomm, not bad names to keep watch as they start to push out of the bottoming action. And you're looking for stocks that are strong, right? Strong away from the 9 EMA towards the upside, potentially above the 200, right? Like this one is. Now it's getting above the 200. It's the 9 is crossing the 50, and the 50 is starting to make a quick move, like it wants to go back to the 200. So just as quickly as it made this bearish cross, it's now looking to make the golden cross, right? So we'll see what happens there in Qualcomm. Already getting a nice little lift here in the pre-market. All right, we'll see what other trades are making moves today. We'll keep watch to see what happens in the pre-market. Let's go to some of the smaller names. I haven't really watched some of these today, so I'm just going to go towards the top movers of the day in the small cap space, and we'll talk a little bit about some other action there. But looking around, let's get after it today, guys. All right. Looking to go ahead and keep pushing. Look for these smaller stocks to start getting a lift here. Let's see what happens. ASST getting a lift there to 125. Now pulling back to the $1. Can this one continue going? We'll see what happens. Nice little early flag action here. Early flag action. This was a nice little flag action that happened here. Nice little break above. Went above the resistance, then came back, kind of recollected right below that towards the 90. Took $1. Now I'd like to see $1 hold on any pullbacks. So if it can come back to $1, it looks pretty interesting there. We'll see what happens. ASST, not a bad morning mover. HSDT, another one to keep watch on it. And look at this one. Nice little flagging pattern already breaking out right now. 15 minutes ago, and it just started to get that move there. Now continuing to push through. Nice little pattern on below the VWAP. Then broke the VWAP and started to get that comeback there. Looking pretty good. And I love how it went above here towards 135. Right back to the VWAP at 119. Recollected at 119. Now up there to the 142s. Not a bad break at all, guys. All right, we got to keep pushing, guys. We'll see what else is out there, but not having a bad day at all. Excited to keep it going here, guys. It's time to keep things going. All right, we'll be looking around to see what other stocks are making a move out there. I see Vate and some different names out there. Let's take a look at some of these actions. You got T-Pet. Is that like that's a petroleum name. Getting a quick little spike and a drop. INM. Not too bad. A biotech got up there to 9, but now kind of fading down a little bit. We'll look to see if this one can get hot there. MBOT showing up there. We'll see if that can push there. LEDS. I haven't seen this one move in a while. LEDS Corporation. I've seen this one run before. It's a known runner, right? I mean, look at that chart. It runs all the time, but it's a quick move. So we'll see if this $2 move can actually hold on there. It just broke the $2, went up there to 225, just reloaded right around the $2 spot. So I think that was a good look there, that it held the $2 on the recent pullback. Now let's see if it can take the move. Up one, down one, up two, down two, up three, down three. Essentially should start to get that move in the lift there. We'll see if it can really push here on the 5-minute. Good looking chart there. We'll see if we can get that push through and start to get that next lift, guys. All right, logging back in here, trying to get back and get ready for maybe this LEDS breakout. This is not a bad one to play here. I wouldn't mind maybe taking the scalp off with a 213, seeing if it can break above the $2. It doesn't look too bad at all, to tell you the truth. We'll see if it can go like kind of 5 minutes for a 5-minute red candle for a second. Just give that look. This opened at 210s. Maybe it goes back down to 209 here and then gets the lift. So that's what I'll be looking for, a little bit of a 209 test and then the push higher. We'll see if it starts to do that on LEDS. All right, guys, let's keep it moving. Let's see what we can come up with today, guys. Of course, I will let you guys know I am pushing in my main account here, trying to get to the next level. I wanted to show you guys where I'm at on that account and where I can get to, right? Of course, this isn't going to be easy. I got to keep pushing. But the account balance is looking pretty good here. I'll show you guys it right now. Of course, this is the super buying power, the limited, and you guys can see I'm at 1,700. Need to get to 3,150, right? Of course, you guys can see it on kind of the waves. It hasn't been easy, right? I haven't gone too much into the negatives on this one, but have recently made a nice little upswing. And that upswing has come a lot from just trying to make simple trades, right? Not trying to overextend myself. Got a nice kind of balance right there, 17. Need to get to the 3,150. Of course, got a little bit of time here. Best stock has been NNE. Look at the success rate. It doesn't need to be high, right, to make money, guys. This is where I think a lot of traders get it wrong. What can I do really well? A lot of times focus on that risk to reward. Right now, I'm getting as close to a 1.45. So that's really good, guys. That means I only need to be about 25% accurate just to break even. So not looking too bad there. And the best day really coming earlier in the month, right? So 680 day, that was the best day. Going to keep pushing today. Yesterday on Friday, was able to close another trade on NNE for a really nice trade. So going to keep pushing, guys. We'll see what we are able to come up with today. Let's go, team. Let's go. All right, a lot to take a look at, guys. We'll see what else is moving in the market right now. And ready to keep pushing, guys. Ready to see what I can come up with today. All right, guys, let's see this LEDS. It just made the move there. LEDS, let's see if we can start to really kind of push here. It doesn't look too bad for a little bit of a scalp. We did get a pullback there. It came back there towards a low of 211s. Now it's right back towards 220s here. So let me see if I can get a small dip here or maybe just ride it out for a quick little scalp here. We'll see what happens on LEDS. All right, looking around the scanners to see what else I'm seeing moving out there right now. In the Benzinga Pro scanner, starting to see that LEDS start to show up there. And there's the scalp opportunity. Missed the action there, guys. 226 now coming up. Could have got, let's say, 216. Looking for the 10-cent pop and a little bit above, maybe towards the 235s. But nice little pop there on LEDS. Not going to go after it now. I already kind of missed that opportunity. Maybe I could ride the 220s to 235s. But that's a really small scalp. I'll let this one go. It was a nice little setup here. We'll see if it can keep pushing, and we'll look for another one there. Looking to see what else is making a move recently, and I'll let you know if I see a big popper. All right, let's go towards the chat here. Let's see what you guys are watching this morning. 3 years. Let's go. That's what I like to hear. Mitch, what do you think about lithium stocks today, like LAC? Let's go. Let's take a look there. All right, we'll take a look at that one. LAC. Let's go ahead. LADS now pushing there to the 230s there. So there was a little scalp there to be had. I think it was just a really nice pattern. So LAC is one thing that I would keep a watch on, right? I think it's been forming a pattern, and I think lithium overall has been forming a pattern, but it hasn't made a big breakout, right? Like this PLL, right? It had a really nice setup and then just kind of broke down. So I think you got to continue to watch to see when the leaders start to push. One of the leaders that I think is one that I'm really thinking about long-term investment is this SQM. I've thought about it for a while now, guys. And the reason why is that this stock has been beaten down, but it's definitely the best of breed for lithium, of course, because Chile has so much lithium, right? So I'm looking to see if this trend can change. Once I start to see this stock, let's say going towards like 50 and 60s, yeah, that's when I'd start to see that lithium's trend has changed. We need to see that V type of shape on stocks that are leaders in the lithium space to really get excited. Until we start to see that, I would be on the sideline waiting. Doesn't mean you completely forget about these, but they're not hot right now. So I'm watching for moves like CCJ. So CCJ on Friday started to get a nice little lift there, a nice little push back, right? So this is one that I can watch. This is the trend that I can look to see if it starts to come back here. NNE, some nuclear plays, GEV, right? Will these continue to keep going? Of course, you guys know I've talked about GEV as the best of breed in the nuclear space. We'll see if some of the utilities, some of the minerals plays start to make a lift today. So uranium plays, things like that. There's a lot of trends always to take a look at. All right, guys, in a second, I will be going through a quick little run of the sunrise report. There's not much, and then we'll get right towards the show. It's already 9 a.m., so we'll kick things off in just a second here. Let me just do a quick little rundown of what was on the sunrise report. There's really not too much to talk about. A lot of this is just that, Donald Trump's second term kicking off here, and a lot of the tariff chatter out there. So Trump hinted at 25% on goods from Mexico and Canada due to border policies with potential action by February 1st. So, of course, what does this mean? That it's not right now. And so not right now gives the ability for these stocks to make a move. You guys know how I've been all over China and thinking that China is a really good investment this year. FXI already making a quick move to the upside. So let's start to see if this is the beginning of the China rally for 2025. BABA up there to 86, 87. We'll see what happens. On China, Trump discussed tariffs, but left plans vague. And recently, he had a discussion, right, with China, and things seemed pretty good there. I don't know what's going on there, and there's definitely some uncertainty in that trade relation, but we'll see what happens, right? If the trade wars kind of continue, of course, that's going to not bring any winners. But in the long run, I think this will be fine for China, and they'll figure it out. DA Horton is another one that's getting a move today. Of course, DHI getting up there to 152. We'll look to see what happens with DHI. Shares of the home builders surge after a blowout earnings report. $2.61 on the EPS. $7.61 billion over 7.08 expected. Year-to-date, shares up 5%, rebounding from an 8% drop in early 2024. We'll see what happens there. And the last one with some news here is Costco. Costco getting a little bit of a lift right now, but watch out, guys, as Costco's Teamster union voted to authorize a strike if no agreement is reached before January 31st contract deadline. 85% of members backed the strike, and negotiations continued this week, but tensions are high with the union president, Sean O'Brien, calling out greedy executives at Costco. And there's a downgrade on Apple with Jefferies. Apple taking a hit with a rare downgrade to underperform from Jefferies, adding pressure to the big tech sentiment. That's going to do it for us right now. It's time to kick the show off. Time to get things really going here. You guys know where you're at. It's TTT Live. Let's go ahead. Let's get it right to the show. Start that countdown. Bring on Michael, and let me know what's going on in the heat map. Wants 200, baby. You ready to get back to the trading action?
You aim, you shoot, and make money.
It's going to be a great day. You guys know where you're at. What's up? What's up out there, guys? Let's go ahead. Let's keep it going. Let's bring on the man himself. Michael, what's going on? How we doing?
It's going well. Are you getting any of this polar vortex stuff going on?
Well, I got to say, Michael, when I left you on Thursday, it was snowing, and then I come back on Tuesday, and guess what I see? It's snowing, baby.
Yeah, it is cold out there. I haven't converted it for your guys' numbers, but yeah, it is like minus
Yeah.
18 Celsius.
Minus 18 Celsius. Oh, that's not too bad, man. I remember my Colorado days where we used to get down there to 0 Fahrenheit. But is that colder than 0?
I just did the math. It's like -1 Fahrenheit.
-1. You see, that's really the turning point, right? I'll tell you guys right now, when you get into the teens, right? Like when you get into like 10 degrees, yeah, you start feeling it. That's when I'm in the mountains snowboarding, you know, all bundled up, but still out there. But man, great weather, man. It's not bad weather, Michael. It's great weather. It's great weather. You know why? Because it keeps you inside trading, baby.
Exactly. I was about to say I'm inside and the heat pump's working, so I'm good to go.
Yeah. Not a bad day to start it off today, guys. Some action going on. We'll take a look at the heat map of that LEDS scalp that we just talked about, already there towards 236. Right about there. We literally just watched a little small pattern, easy pattern on LEDS. Get a little scalping action through that. And these are nice because it was such a symmetrical kind of pattern, right? That's what I say a lot of times. When the pattern is symmetrical, it's nice, easy to read. Sometimes those are the best easy scalping opportunities. You guys can see that LEDS, nice continuation there. We'll see if it can keep moving. That's a small stock moving today, and that's a known runner. It's a known runner before, so we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, it does this now. You know, be careful with it. And just going back through the charts, it runs. You know, it has these very almost double days that it seems to do all the time. Generally speaking, gives those back really, really quickly. But hey, a trade's a trade, right? You get in, you stay in while the getting's good, and right, you know where the exit is. But just going over to the heat map, kind of mixed, right? Again, anytime you see blue, that means just completely unchanged. It hasn't traded at all yet. We'll see what's going to happen when these things open. But a couple interesting things I noticed just right off the bat with KWeb. Again, you were talking about in the last show there, just about how Trump met with China. So maybe there's some good things going on there. I really like those charts. We'll go over FXI and KWeb in a second. Bitcoin still holding on with all of the insanity that happened in the crypto space since we chatted last. Mitch, it was just a wild weekend for crypto. The transportation ETF up the most today, so 2.9% going on there. So it's one of those things that there's a lot of different sectors. It's very diverse, right? We have transports, we have crypto, we have semiconductors, China, we have copper with materials, wheat, just agriculture. So very mixed board. Not really, generally speaking, you can kind of look at the board, you can grab a theme, you can go from there. Nothing really that I'm seeing theme-wise. It's just kind of everything's all over the place, which, again, for us as traders is absolutely fantastic. I did want to just quickly go through another couple things. So one here is China. Again, we're bouncing here. Very much like talked about this level a lot. You know, $29, $30 in FXI. You can see just resistance turning into support, turning into resistance again. Big level. Broke through that, pushed pretty large, and now we are up a bit. So I'm very interested in getting involved in either the FXI, which would be the easy way to do it and probably the safe way to do it if people didn't want a lot of alpha. They just wanted to buy the index, right? You're not going to have it double or triple overnight. You're not going to probably have it cut in half overnight. So you can have some good moves there. You can go under the hood, take a look at some Alibaba names, JD.com, some of these bigger guys as well. I own some JD. I'm looking to buy some Alibaba if we're going to break out of this wedge right here. And the last thing I just wanted to chat about quickly is what we were talking about in our little company chat there this morning, Mitch. And I got a couple charts for you. So one, let's just grab this. One is the amount of just AAII investor sentiments. We can just go right to the website. This is a great holding or a great resource. We talk about free resources all the time. What they do here is they ask a bunch of individual investors, so not funds, not institutions, are you bullish or bearish? It comes out once a week. They do the survey and they say, hey, do you think the market's going up next week? Do you think it's going down next week? It does it with a couple hundred people, been doing so since 1987, you can see here. So this has existed for a long time, a lot of data here. And as you can imagine, in most cases, it means nothing. It only matters in the extremes. And when the extremes happen, the people are usually wrong, like 9 times out of 10, right? It's funny. The story is the guy created this thinking that he was going to be going with, hey, if everyone's bullish, it's probably going to be a good uptrend because everyone's buying and vice versa. He learned very quickly, way back in 1987, that that is absolutely not the case. So we actually have a bearish reading, and not only a bearish reading, the most bearish reading that we've had all year. And if you take a look at this chart, this is the 1 week change. We have gotten more bears since week over week, that change, than all the way back in 2020 when the world was falling apart. So people got very bearish, and the market's like 1% from all-time highs. So I think this is the most bullish thing that you could possibly see, is that if you have the whole world betting that we're going to crash here, with the market, we were buying since 580. It's been straight up all week. It looks like it needs to pull back, but if everybody in the world, which is kind of what we're seeing here, is betting that that pullback's going to occur, it's often that pullback's not going to occur. So I am very bulled up, we'll say, this week.
Yeah, I'm ready to watch the action. I mean, I tried to talk about it early last week and how the bear sentiment was out there, but I already saw what was coming the following week. On Monday, I was starting to talk about this, that, hey guys, did you forget Trump's coming next week, guys? So I know that there's a lot of bearish sentiment out there, but the truth was that this gave opportunity to the big guys, right? Yeah. Not opportunity to the little guy. Little guy see these corrections, and what do they start thinking? Oh no, I can't be in stocks. I got to run away. The whole world is coming down. Well, the truth is that there really wasn't any true negative sentiment on why the pullback happened, right? Some could say it was profit taking. Some could say it was the big caps coming back down. At the end of the day, it was just uncertainty at play. That's what I think happened there. Uncertainty. And when it's uncertain, well, the truth is it's waiting for good news. I thought the market was just waiting for good news, right? It wasn't getting bad news. So what was it doing? It was waiting for the good news cycle. Now we get Trump to come out. We get the tariffs to get pushed back until February. We'll look at that later, right? Mm-hmm. And what does that start to do? Starts to take away some of the concerns away from right now in this moment, right? So we can't be thinking about what's going to happen, how the market's going to feel 3 weeks from now. From right now, what happened? Well, what's changed? What's changed is now we know that the tariffs aren't coming today. The tariffs are coming maybe in February. And so that already is a change in thinking, right? So what is that going to do? That's going to push back the inflation narrative, right? Yep. That whole, inflation's coming. Well, I talked about it. That would also take time to show up, right? Even if he does do some inflationary actions, inflation has a tendency of lagging, right? And so by the time we actually see it, is it going to be in 2025? It could be probably showing up all the way till 2026. That's the way I think about it, right? So in this year, right now, what is the negative? The only thing for me that is negative to watch for is jobless claims jumping. If that's what happens, the labor market deteriorating, start being scared, start putting the blinders and being like, whoa. This is what's really happening underneath the hood. But other than that, things are good, guys. Inflation's down, right? Trump's ready to hit the gas pedal. A lot of executive actions coming through here. And if there's anything for certain, I know that Trump wants the market to look good. There's one thing that I know for sure. He's a businessman, and he's going to continue being a businessman, right? So I think that's his focus.
Yeah, and we all remember last time, right? Every time the market hit a new all-time high, he would tweet about it, bragging. So he definitely ties a lot of his personality. I think you hit the nail on the head with the fact that the tariffs aren't going to start till February. If he was really serious about those, you think he would just drop them right away. The fact that he's giving everyone to February, to me, that sounds like, okay, come on, let's talk, let's negotiate. So, and that's what I think the market is seeing, and why the market's gapping up here as well, is because saying, okay, he's giving everyone a month. They're all going to fly down. They're going to have their conversation. They're going to, kiss the ring or do whatever they got to do. And then they're probably not going to happen. Last thing that I wanted to look at here. So a little bit of a complicated chart, so I'll explain it for a second. But the main thing you got to keep in mind, so we talked about sentiment and sentiment data, and basically showing that everyone in the world is bearish, and that's surveys, which are good but not the best. I like this data as well, which is the commitment of trader data. So long story short, I'll probably start doing these on Mondays as well, because they come out every week. For those who don't know, if you have to declare as a trader what type of trader you are. If you're a commercial hedger, it means that you're someone out there who runs a business and you're using futures to hedge your business. So say I sell a lot of stuff in the euro, I'm going to hedge that, and I have to figure that out. Those guys are probably the ones in the know. They're usually the ones in the know. Speculators are usually wrong. So this is an area of the dollar index, and the dollar broke out of this range a couple weeks ago. It's been ripping higher, and you can see the small or the large speculators are as big as they have been in a very long time. So if these guys are usually wrong, that means we could get some relief for the dollar, a pullback in the dollar. That's generally bullish for risk on assets. It's generally bullish for stocks. It's generally bullish for Bitcoin. It's generally bullish for small caps in particular. Generally means interest rates are going to come down if the dollar comes down as well. So there's just a lot of, I haven't seen a single chart on my work. I had an extra long weekend, so I went through a lot of charts. Haven't seen a single one that's gotten me at all worried. So doesn't mean anything. I've been wrong all the time, but yeah, everything is looking very, very good. So anything that I do in my own personal portfolio is definitely going to be to the long side quite a bit. So you're looking at BTCT there, I see in the chat.
Yeah, man, I'm watching that get a nice little lift there. I was even watching it just before, like when we were talking about the Trump conversation, and it went from like 940s there quickly up there towards like 1020s. So BTCT, nice little rip there, up there towards the 1020s, and hot this morning. How did I find this, guys? I just did a little bit of a quick scanner screen for things that are below 100 million in float, up at least 10% in the week. And on this case, particularly, I'm looking at what stocks are up today in that. And clearly, I could see this BTCT show up there. And that was back when it was at 9. Now it just broke through 10. And it's pretty hot this morning. So we'll see. Bitcoin was taking a big pullback, of course, after the Trump coin made a big rip up on that. And like I said, man, Solana, man, where are the Solana ETFs? They're coming soon, guys. Solana made like a 30 or 40% push off of that. So, hey, that's how it is, guys. I think you got to understand also where the projects are going. That's why I mentioned Solana. But that's a whole nother conversation with crypto, because I noticed that change really quickly as being someone that wasn't necessarily, let's say, I'm not big in the crypto space, but I've been to a lot of crypto events, and that gave me the insight, right? They told me, the builders told me where they wanted to build. It wasn't Ethereum, it was Solana. So that gave me really quick insight in the early days that Ethereum was just too expensive. And that's the main thing with Ethereum, is it's an expensive chain. But we'll see if these Bitcoin names can really push today.
Yeah, the whole crypto space is looking great. I just brought up. So Bitcoin, again, I've been saying it kind of until the cows come home, that Bitcoin has a history of just chopping everyone around. So we broke these lows, and this was the same time the market broke these lows, and we were talking about this bear trap that occurred right here. Then we ran all the way up, and then we broke these prior highs. I don't know if it's a bull trap yet. You need to see some confirmation in order to know that. But we did break all-time highs, this kind of 108.50 for just a quick second. But then as you saw, like you mentioned, there was a lot of meme coin mania. I think that's shaken a lot of faith, I think, in some of the crypto names. I saw a lot of really staunch crypto supporters come out vehemently against this meme coin stuff, basically saying, hey, if you want us to be taken seriously, you can't do this. But you're right, Solana is where a lot of the meme coins are made. A lot of the altcoins use Ethereum, and then I think exclusively meme coins are on Solana because it's cheap, right? So you can just build, you can spin up anything in 2 seconds. The two of us could make a trade the pool meme coin, and we could launch it in like an hour. And
there isn't one coming already, Michael?
Oh man, after seeing some of the market cap of these, I'm like, where is the NOS meme coin? I
Right?
won't rug, I
I'm
promise.
ready. I'm ready. I'm ready.
But yeah, so a lot of these are pulling back, but holding on. So like Solana broke out of this kind of 217, had a nice little breakout. Looks like we may be retesting it. Even Ethereum, and Ethereum has been the absolute dog of this run. Everyone's waiting for altcoin season. I keep seeing all of my crypto friends say eventually, right? We basically jumped from Bitcoin season right to meme coin season, and I think the altcoins have kind of been left behind, the guys in the middle, which for you stock market guys, kind of like the mid caps, right? It's like we've had the large caps rally, we had the small caps rally, but we didn't have any love for the mid caps. But holding on here, looking like it's going to push higher. So again, for people, sometimes I talk about crypto and they go, oh, well, I don't believe in crypto, I'm not interested in trading it. I still think it's very important to keep an eye on, simply because it's a risk barometer, right? If Bitcoin is ripping to new all-time highs, you're not going to get a sell-off in the stock market. At least historically, Bitcoin and the NASDAQ, Bitcoin and tech stocks have been very, very, very correlated. So I would say the same kind of thing here. I'm watching this chart, if for no other reason. I hold a bunch of Bitcoin, so I have to watch it, but for no other reason than just risk, Same as ARK, right? You can see ARK is third here on the list of my ETFs and looking really nice. And I haven't been able to say that for ARK in like 4 years now, but it's looking very, very nice. It looks like it could be breaking out of this symmetrical triangle right here. It could be after breaking out of this very long-term resistance. If we zoom out here, I can draw this up. This resistance has been going on forever. Broke out, came back to retest it. Looks like it might be moving higher here. Go into the daily chart. So ARK, to me, again, it's just she invests in things that are unprofitable right now, but have hope for the future. So if ARK is moving higher, it means that people aren't really worried about the future, or else they want to move their money into things that are making money right now. So with ARK, it's very, very interesting to me to see this high at the same time that we see Bitcoin rocketing, just a lot of things out there that are showing that the sentiment is on. So I'm going to be very closely watching the open, because I think that's going to tell us a lot of what we need to know this week. If we hold this gap on the open, then I think it could be a very fantastic week. I'm almost worried that I'm too excited. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I know you're starting to tame me, Michael. I'm like, oh no. What's up, Justy? How we doing? Oh, I don't got your mic.
Muted.
Fix your mic for me, my friend. No worries. We'll get that fixed up. Maybe it's switched off. Check the settings right quick on the mic there. Sometimes StreamYard loves to pick the wrong mic. It's like, dude, I don't want to talk out of my webcam.
Yeah, how about this? Is this a little bit better?
There you go.
Gotcha.
A little better there. What's going on, my friend? How we doing?
Oh, hanging out. I'm excited too. Things are looking good. We've got an exciting week in the market. We survived inauguration, at least so far. So I'm ready to rock and roll.
Survived it, man. I didn't know if I was going to come in today. I made a Trump coin Lamborghini, baby.
There you go. Now we're talking. Yeah, it's
yeah,
fun
I really quickly just went to the bank and was just like, like alt delete on the savings account, throw it into the coin. Let's go.
If you see the fat pitch, you got to take the swing, right?
Hey, dude, I'll tell you one thing. As soon as I heard it, I was like, yeah, that's gonna make some money though. But I was like, yeah, that's just how it is a lot of times. And one of the things that I would say with that whole meme coin situation, you'll see people battling back and forth whether you should go investing in these or not or whatever. I always just say it like the same way that in trading. Make sure it's money you can lose.
Yep.
Essentially, playing money, right? If we have some playing money, there's nothing wrong with taking a trade, whether that be in Bitcoin, whether that be in, stocks themselves, whether that be in crypto, whether that be in a meme coin. Don't let anyone ever tell you that an investment is not worth taking if it's money that you understand what you're doing with and going for a nice risk to reward setup, right? Because the truth is, hey, scared money does not make money, guys. That's the truth, right? And if you're going to be on the sideline just watching the news, well, guess what? You're going to feel a lot of would have, could have, should have, and I could have done this, right? But the truth is, what do we got to do is learn to improve our decision-making skills and make decisions, because that's what we're doing as traders, working up that decision-making skill process and then working on it in real action and executing those ideas. And I'll tell you right now, if you just keep them as ideas, well, ideas don't pay the piggy and they don't pay the bank, man. So let's keep it going, guys. Let's take a look at what else is out there. What are you looking to look at today, Steve? What do you see in the market?
Let me show you what I got cooking here. So I am seeing a lot of interesting stuff. I'm loving chips right now. I'm thinking there's a lot of
I was saying the same thing on the Playbook this morning. I said, I wonder if Trump brought chips to the party or the inauguration party. But pun intended, we'll see what happens with the chips. What are you seeing out there? Are you looking to more SMH? Are you looking at certain particular names? What you got?
Yeah, let me show you what I'm seeing here. So we got our just weekly SMH chart here, keeping it nice and simple. We got a big old pennant. Love to see these big bases forming. We are catching our shorter term moving averages, this blue line here. We are also consolidating above the equilibrium, this 50% zone of our pennant. So that's always good for me to see. It's just a relative strength. People are kind of chasing this up as we're kind of breaking out here. Or at least that's the thesis I'm playing out here. I really love when we four knock any level. So 1, 2, 3. The next test will be the fourth test. Quite often, I found that three is when they often break, and 4 is a gift. So if they give you those four knocks, they are always a spot that I'm looking for. So that's the top watch for me. I swung MU to kind of express that trade idea. This is the most ambitious path, but I think that there is a lot of room up here. If we do get this big breakout, we are seeing it in. Oops, that's not it. In the indices, right? We have this big flag breakout on higher time frames. So if this move holds, like Michael was saying, he's watching this morning's price action pretty closely. For me, this morning and just all of today, I really want to see how the start of this week plays out, and I'd love to see just a little pullback this morning and then off to the races for an expansion candle on the weekly.
Well, there was one stock that was moving this morning. What about the Nancy Pelosi bets out there? There's one stock that I've been keeping an eye on, which is Tempest AI, and it's getting a big lift this morning. And a lot of that, I would say, the Pelosi push is not a bad thing to see there. But you're seeing a national launch there of a personal health concierge app. So Tempest AI getting a big push today, guys.
She bought into this name specifically, or just into AI?
She has call options. She purchased 50 January 2026 call options. So they're not for 2025, but they're 2026, and she's already getting into it. So the Nancy Pelosi bets. She also bet on Amazon, Google, and one more name that I'll pull in a second. It's kind of a smaller name, but definitely some Nancy Pelosi bets.
So yeah, what's interesting. So I brought this up, and this is the entire chart. This Tempest AI is a fairly new issue, and this purple line is the IPO. And again, if you've read Brian Shannon's book, a boat anchored view app, it's something I use in my discretionary analysis a lot. He just talks about, hey, the anchored view app from IPO is super important because this is what the average price of somebody that dollar cost averaged into this stock from its existence. That's kind of what they're at. And if you look, you can see throughout the short history of this name, this anchored view app has been a massive deal, right? If you just played around this guy for the entire life of this particular name, it's a lot of good trades. There's 4 good bounces that you had. We are right at it right now. So the idea is that if we can get and close above this anchored view app, then the average market participant in Tempest is doing okay. If we are below this one, then they're still a little bit underwater. So really important price. That's sitting around $43.50, give or take. So it's $43 to $44. So I'm going to watch this one because who doesn't want to trade on the side of Nancy Pelosi? That's just the greatest trader of all time. But yeah, very simple level. So if we can get above this, I'm going to add this to a short list to watch. If we can get above this and hold above this anchored view app for any time at all, it could test all-time highs, which is like a double from here. And then the trade gets pretty simple, right? Above the anchored view app, you want to hold it. Below the anchored view app, you probably want to get out, and then you just want to wait to see till we get some sort of a push higher here. So that's very interesting. Those call options might be the way to do it too. I'm going to take a look at those.
Michael, I gotta say, I'm becoming a convert of these anchored VWAPs. I've been slapping them on everything since we were talking, and man, they're
Come
it's
join me.
magic. I'm telling you.
It is the so I trade systems and models mostly, but if I am discretionary trading, it is due to the anchored VWAP. And again, highly recommend Brian's book, Maximum Trading Gains Using Anchored VWAP. I'm in it. And a little thank you in there. It's cool to see. But yeah, it's a very simple tool because people use moving averages a lot, but my problem with moving averages is why use a 10 and not a 9 or an 8 or an 11 or a 12, right? They're very subjective in nature, but in this situation, the only subjective part of the VWAP is where do you anchor it to? And then there's a lot of places that just make perfect sense. So for example, right, this is the beginning of the birth of the stock, right? So it makes sense. And then the other kind of places, just to do a VWAP lesson, I guess, is just major highs and major lows. So where did buyers take control, right? Sellers took control right down here. Buyers took control at the very low of this way back here. You can see they're all kind of converging around this same area. So it doesn't really matter where you are in, where your anchor is. They're all kind of converging right around this area. And that shows that it's a huge, huge area to watch, which are the areas that we want to trade at. We don't want to just trade in the middle of nothing. But like Mitch said, greatest trader of all times buying some. We have a nice gap up over prior resistance. We have a really major anchored VWAP right here. So I think this is definitely, from the swing side of things, something to keep an eye on. Because yeah, if we get the momentum through that line, it could be really interesting.
All right, market's open, guys. Let's go ahead and let's do what we do best. Let's get to our trading action. You guys know what to do out there. Stay safe, get after it, and go make some money, man. Let's do it. That's what we're here for. Let's get after it.
All right, let's go to the SPY, see what's going on right on the open here. Gap up, and then we're just looking to see if it fills. So speaking of anchored VWAP, I slapped one on to yesterday's or Friday's action, and that's kind of my line in the sand. I mean, if we come in and we can hold that, I may take a little bit of a trade long. If we don't, then right, it'll be time to go. But that's going to be my play. And for me, I'm really just watching. I think we've got some digestion in store when it comes to the market. People have to figure out exactly what happened over the weekend, over the long week. So I wouldn't be shocked to see some really kind of choppy action, just like me and Mitch was talking about on Friday, where the market just kind of chopped sideways for a long period of time, made its move in the afternoon. I would not be surprised. Now, perfect world for me, pull back into kind of 598, give or take, and then a push from there, I think would be the trade that I'd want to take.
All right, alert out there on a stock you don't see moving too often right now. I'm seeing Planet Labs. It's a satellite name, and it's getting a nice little lift there towards 420s, 430s. I'm seeing Rocket Lab up in space, so it looks like overall space getting a little bit of some lift there. And of course, one of the stock that's on my playbook today, Lockheed Martin, getting a little bit of a lift today off the 495. We'll see if that can make a run there towards 500 today.
Real quick here, Mitch.
Industrials on the watch. What you got?
Sorry to interrupt. MU, the watch stock I'm watching for breakout here is very strong in the first opening. Nice volume on the candle, so keeping an eye on this one. If it can go, then we've got a good amount of room up to 109, 110 today. So that's something to keep an eye on there. Okay.
I'm just going to the heat map. Let's take a stop by there for just a quick second. Really nothing's changing, right? We're still getting, so NLR and URA, nuclear, seems to be really, really strong. And then
NNE taking off right out the gates, guys. Already up about $1.15 there. So definitely nuclear names. That's where I made my money on Friday. I made NNE to the upside. Looking to see if that can continue. SMR also hot to start the day. What I always look for,
another one.
Yeah,
10%.
what I look for is right there. Look at OKLO, look at CCJ, look at UEC. I'd like to see those in the green when I trade NNE and SMR. If those are deep in the red, I stay off. It's kind of like my warning sign. When I see them all trading well, that gives me the sign. Like right now, you see CCJ pushing towards the pre-market highs. You see UAC pushing towards pre-market high, and that helps those names, right? When the materials underneath them are making a nice little lift. So SMR just crossed 24s. I would love to see a pullback slightly underneath 24s. We just got that at 2380s, now holding 24.
So the only thing that came through the algo that I'm continuing to work on here is CMPX, Compass Therapeutics, which I think is one of these psychedelic names.
Oh,
It is.
Compass. So the idea is that if we can get a little bit of an extension here, this thing's gone from $1.50 to $3 in just a couple days. A little bit of an extension. We're looking for a kind of day trade short. Other than that, when I go and I take a look at the chart, I always just want to anchor a VWAP from whatever the last like big breakout candle was, and that's sitting all the way down here at 250. So push up to 277. Looking for a day trade short. If we fail kind of 250 area, then maybe I'll take a short there as well. But that was the only name that came through. So a lot of what I'm doing is I'm trying to look at more algorithms, just because this one, it's been like 3 or 4 days since it's had a trade, which again for a personal account is fantastic, but I'm looking to get into the trade the pool, so I'm going to do something I need something a little more active, so that's what I'm playing. But not super excited about this one, just because I'm looking for really overextended names. This one actually doesn't look that overextended. It just looks like a little bit of a breakout occurring here.
All right, guys, looking around, I'm trying to see some trends out there. Right now, I'm starting to see Moderna as one of the names that are getting a bounce back day. Of course, that's been an area that's been hit hard. Moderna itself has been hit hard, getting a little bounce today in the Qs. Just starting to look into the kind of the trends out there. That's what I'm seeing out there. I'm seeing some, not so much tech names leading, right? I'm seeing industrials up on the day, healthcare up on the day, basic materials. And what's down right now, we have energy down, technology up about 0.35, the market's being led by industrials, healthcare, and some basic materials.
SPY doesn't look like it's going to pull back for me at all. Just holding, just gapped up, kind of ran and just holding right at highs. Here's the pre-market highs back here. So if we can get this kind of 600 area, 601 seems to be where we are struggling. Again, I'm looking for a pullback to this 2-day VWAP and a hold there, but don't think I'm going to get it just because of how strong everything is looking. So the only kind of quick scalp I could possibly take is if we break today's VWAP to the downside and maybe target the 2-day VWAP, but just again, chop and kind of exactly what I expect to happen, right? Was this chop. Looking at some of these sectors, I don't think this should shock anyone. The aerospace and defense ETF XAR is doing well. I think that's a play on that's a potential Trump play. Same with transportation. That's going to have a lot of that same kind of names in it. And then if we go into Jets ETF, I think that was up. Yeah. So this is one of my favorite charts out there when it comes to just ETFs as a whole, is this Jets. Just an insane move from the bottom. Nice consolidation, nice and simple. It looks like we're trying to break that. We've broken out 2 or 3 times now, and now it looks like we're looking to hold. So if this can get going, right, pick your favorite. I own some UAL from an algorithm for swing trading, but you can go do right DAL. This is a nice looking chart. Just grab your airline of choice. If the Jets ETF is going, they're probably all going.
I'll tell you one to look in there that many won't. Instead of the airline, is Boeing getting a 1% move today, and that's helping that ETF out right there. It has Boeing in there, so BA getting a nice little push. Of course, in the area that's hot today, industrials leading the market with healthcare. So I'd be taking a look at that, right? Lockheed Martin up a full percent, guys. It was on the playbook today. Really nice play there. It's just a harder play to take, right? Just literally opening action. Didn't take a single hit there. RTX is the reason why I'm looking at this one. RTX really hot, guys, and continuing the up action there. So that's why I started to look at Lockheed Martin. AMD, nice hourly long pullback right towards around 122, recovering, looking to see if it can hit 122 again and then come right back up. So you can see here, went to 122, undercut it. Now it's trying to hold it, and then I'll look to see if it ramps back above the VWAP.
Boeing, again, just to continue our VWAP talk, right?
Yeah.
So you take this major low, and the reason you would anchor it here is this is that insane low from, right, their planes are all falling apart. Spends a lot of time above that anchored VWAP from that low. Look right where it comes down to, just almost to the tick to there, and find some support there. So that becomes a very interesting chart to me. I would have rather had it yesterday, but if this holds today for a discretionary trade, again, things get pretty simple. You know pretty much exactly where you're wrong, right? We're breaking the VWAP from the highs, so showing that, right, if you started to buy here, you're defending that price. If you bought at the top of the this move, then you're starting to make money right now. And it gets pretty simple, right? Above 162-ish, or this VWAP, you kind of want to be long. If we break below, might be time to go. So pretty simple trade there.
I just,
All right, seeing some downside in the market there, guys. Just be careful out there.
Yeah, we are trading into a potential. Shoot, maybe I'm a little early on my ad, but I did add to my MU swing here, just a little nibble. But I was seeing a lot of relative strength that came back, and I was thinking we were coming into an area where SPY's going to catch. So we'll see if that thesis does play out. The little 200-minute moving average here, the undercut of the VWAP.
I am thinking right here, right? So again, this 597 is now 598 as this VWAP continues to crank up. I think that would be my game plan. If I can get involved there, I think I'll start to buy into some SPY. I may just do, because it'll be my own account, something like an SSO, or there's like a million of these double and triple ETF, what, TQQQ, right? Because the Qs are probably looking the same. Oh, the Qs are actually relatively weak, which is interesting. Getting close to that.
Losing the 600 even here. Let's get some volume quick.
So yeah, that might be just a hold my nose and buy kind of area if we get any sort of sign that we're going to be holding up there on the Qs, right? Just take a leverage TQQQ. There's a bunch of these short SQQQ. There's a million different ways to make these plays. You just got to figure out which one makes the most sense to you. When it comes to the dashboard, right, everything's still green. Everything is doing fantastic. Nothing is insanely green except uranium and defense. But yeah, everything's doing really well. The ones on the bottom are a lot of commodities type names, but they're not even down that much. There's nothing down more than 2% on all the ETFs that I watch. Oh, oil, I guess, is down 2%. But yeah, everything's doing great. So we have hit that area on the Qs, so I may actually just take a shot here on TQQQ.
Seen a lot of big mega caps trading into their anchored VWAPs from, I think I did it from the CPI gap, something like that. I gotta redraw those, I think, but Tesla, for example.
Yeah, I think that's a great place.
All right, looking at a penny stock here, guys. CHRO. Looking for another 250 try here, maybe with a 240 bid, and then coming right back up through the $283 breakout.
Wow, that's cooking. Okay, let's go.
All right, already starting to get going here. I grabbed 100 shares right there, guys. 200 shares there, guys, at 282. So definitely got a bad fill there. I hit it on the 270s, but hey, it is what it is, right? I had to get in there. I jumped on the market here, looking to see if this can break out through it. It was starting to jump there a pretty good amount. Let's see if it takes the $3 and really starts to get going here. This isn't a small limited account. Let's see if this starts to get a push here.
I'm seeing a nice volume, a nice catch on MU, not exactly 2 minutes earlier or lower than where I was looking for, but it's getting a nice push now, so I'm feeling good about that. To me, that was a change of character on the tape, on the SPY right there when that candle came in. We'll see if it sticks. I'm notorious for calling these changes of character a little bit early, but for me, something triggered there where it looks like we're maybe getting some changes in the dynamics.
All right, there's a breakout there, guys, above the 3 now towards on CHRO there, guys. So a nice little breakout there, guys. Looking to add here. I think it's going to go into a halt in a second. I'm going to try to add here before the halt. All right, just got the ad in there. Look to see if it gets back above the threes. Just got to dip down there on the offer. Let's see if it takes out the 3 now and really starts to get going here. They have the opportunity to take it here. Let's see if they take it.
Qs are lifting right at that 2-day VWAP. Like almost, it's kind of insane here. Let me bring up
Oh yeah, I just got flow too on Qs. Got Qs 0 DTE 25C.
So is it a dip them and rip them? Is that what happened there? We got a little bit of a flush to get people in, to get people a little nervous, and now we're just going to rip them to highs again. I did end up taking TQQQ. If you're taking short-term trades, I don't see a reason not to trade these particular names, the 2s and the 3Xs. Again, to mention just to everyone, these are not to be held for more than a couple days because they degrade over time. It's just the way they go. They will all go to 0 eventually and then reverse split and over and over and over again. But yeah, for short-term trades are just phenomenal. So you can just deploy less capital. And someone like myself, I don't really have a lot of capital right now. I own like a lot of stuff and on margin. So I'm kind of talking my own book when I'm bullish here, but everything is pointing in that direction anyway. So we're holding the gap up. We're holding the 2-day VWAP for now. Interesting to note, the SPY never even got close. So massive relative strength on the S&P 500 over the NASDAQ, which is a little bit just more of a tech heavy kind of index. So if this NASDAQ trade fails, then the next thing that I'd do is I'd take a look to see if we get the same kind of idea in the S&P 500.
All right, trying to go ahead and get that lift off here, guys. We'll see if we get it or not. Into the green here on CHRO, but no complete lift off. It went to 30s there. I was up about 150, looking for that next push here to the 350s spot there. There's a nice little push there, almost the 350s already here.
So I took along as Michael was talking about it. I did follow that. Looking really good for me on the Qs. So I took some TQQ.
All right, TQQ. Let us know about that setup there. How's that
well, I mean, it's just I'm basically seeing the same thing. We're at the place where I'd like to catch a little dip there. We've got my chaos charts open here, so sorry, that's probably not giving too much on the overview here. Basically, I'm feeling like there's a change of character in the tape on Qs, and I want to take a little put a little money on it. You know, nothing too revolutionary, but yeah, SPY's actually great off of that push here. 600 looks to be reclaiming his support. I'd like to see better follow through on Qs, so I'm assuming Boeing's and other type of Dow type names are doing well here as well. RSP stuff.
Yeah, the SPYs are challenging at least the pre-market high. So this is what I was talking about. If you go to the Qs, we came all the way into the 2-day VWAP. We're bounced there for now, so I own a little bit in this area, but not getting the kind of lift that I'd like to see. So I might exit that scalp a little bit early, but the SPYs, however, are doing fantastic. So I'm watching this as well. I don't think there's a world where we break pre-market high on the SPYs and that Q trade doesn't turn out decent anyway. It doesn't have to be a gangbusters, but should be a little bit of a trade. But the reason we bring up these multiple indexes and ETFs is what it should show people is just that what is making up the market. It's the easiest way to look at it. So for example, if the Qs are ripping and the SPYs aren't, then we know that it's purely tech driven, large tech, cap tech. That's what's moving the market. The opposite is what we're seeing right now. That should tell you the opposite, is that it's not just Nvidia and these big names. It should be a little bit of the opposite. Under the hood, there are names that are not, as the S&P 500 looks like it's going to hit highs here. And a lot of that might be the uranium, the defense names, that type of thing. But the fact that the SPY is almost going to hit highs and the Qs, again, lagging a little bit, although this trade is working out very well.
Sketchy for a few minutes there.
Yeah, I'll take it. It should just say, hey, this is what, there is something else going on under the hood. So that's why we look at all these different sectors and ETFs and whatever, because we don't move the market. The large institutions move the market, and where they're going to put their money, that's our game. We got to figure out where they want to trade, because we want to trade with them, right? They're our friends, because if you can get where the institutions are going, it's going to make your life a lot easier. So Yeah, but this is going well. So I've just moved my stop now. It's right under today's low, right under the VWAP. So my risk on it is near that zero area.
Michael, we are very in tune. I just did the exact same thing. I love it.
Yeah. If we reverse and we hit lows here, I'm not saying that the market's going to fall apart, but my idea of we come down to the 2-day VWAP and we rip, that's wrong. So it's important to note, and you get out not only if you think the market's going to reverse, but you just get out when you're wrong.
Yeah, because you can always get back in, right? If it undercuts and looks great again. But what's the point of playing the gamble of like, I'm going to wrestle with my emotions in real time and see if I can do this hard, management, when I can just wait and see if it plays out,
Yeah, exactly. Now
so I'm real happy now. This is looking great. We got Q's testing VWAP here, or what is that?
Big watch. Also, banks are doing pretty well today, and I think that's a really good sign there if you want the market to continue its rally.
Absolutely.
Bank of America doing pretty well also. So I think that's a big area to watch, right? Because I think if those names can stay hot, that's a good area. Tempest is still staying hot, guys. It did pull back, but it has been a little bit tight for me to get in that one. Interesting trade there on Tempest.
Yeah, so watching that VWAP. So yeah, a hold above that VWAP. I definitely getting involved in this one. Again, you want to follow Nancy. This particular strategy, this is actually something. So, a lot of people ask,
take some profit here.
Oh yeah, good trade, man.
Nice.
But yeah, this is the power. Even if you're someone who's more discretionary or more systematic, like I am, this is the power of watching the market. This whole Tempest thing. I've got my iPad, so if you see me look down, I'm writing notes because this is a strategy that I want to test. Is this anchored VWAP from IPO should be a fairly easy thing to systematize. So it might be part of my swing trading strategy going forward, just seeing how well this thing respected that VWAP from its IPO. Give me a couple of those trades.
I also had taken a little bit of a 0DT options gamble on Qs when I got them running on the lows. So I just closed that for 35% just in case we do pull back and double bottom here. Still on the TTP swing though.
I am trying to go for the guts on this one. That's what I'm trying.
I like it. I appreciate it. That's my chip swing this week. So I'm not even looking at that. That risk has already been established. I'm just hoping we get the lift off this week. But the scalps, I gotta be in and out.
Well, yeah, my bread and butter is always going to be the swing trading. So when I get a good day trade, these are kind of like they're bonus trades for me, right? So I want to make sure that if I can get a good one, eventually I'll move the stop to break even. We'll see. I want us to break the pre-market high. I kind of show if you just go into the Qs, back to the Qs and the 5s. Yeah, if we can break through that pre-market high and then look to spike a bit, I think that's probably where I'd be a seller. But I'm looking just to see if we can get back there, right? That would be by the dip, by the washout, and then when people start to get excited and they start to break those highs, that'd be where I'd kind of take my cash and move on.
I was looking for one more little dip. Maybe I'm a cheeky, greedy boy. I wanted a double bottom today, especially for the options to bottom out there. But it looks like I might be getting left in the dust, which is totally fine. I'm happy to be wrong and make money, right? There's worse things in life.
Yeah, it gets very hard as a swing trader and a day trader to parse those because, right, if it rips without you, you're still doing fine, right?
Well, that's how I kind of looked at it. I was like, all right, I'm scalping this morning that Qs so that I can more safely hold my MU because, I mean, if they both go up, well, obviously I want as much leverage, but, I'm trying to, keep the swing trade alive and give it a little bit of room to breathe with some income generation, so to speak.
All right, we'll see if CHRO can get another rally here, another rally push towards the high. Got to 371. Of course, I got this one underneath 3, looking to see if I could ride this thing to 4, which won't be that bad of an idea here. Just got a nice little push there. Now I can set the stop on the recent low, see if it starts to keep moving here. And I'll show you guys the chart right here. I'm trading it on my main chart here. So you see the 350s right now. You can see that recent pullback to the 9. That's where I have it now underneath that. So let's say 331s. I have it at 328.
Was that
See
news?
what happens.
That's a big candle.
All right, what you seeing on SPY or Qs?
Yeah,
Yeah. Big down,
reversed
big
there.
down, big down, big down. I'm going for the VIX here, guys, on that push. I think one thing to think about, and I always think about this, is where can the traders get caught? Today, I feel like it's more on the bullish side.
Yeah, wow. Well, there's the double bottom if it holds. I just got stopped out of half of my swing, but I'm holding the new one that's still green.
Just
All right,
looking
guys,
to
I'm going to
see
take a
if
little
there
bit
was-
here on the VXX. So, guys, I just went a little bit long here. I'm going to take a really tiny risk here, but it's
Whoa.
just to see if we get a quick jump here.
Do be careful, I would say, just in terms of, I don't know what's happening. It looks like this is news of some sort.
I'm looking
Yeah.
around for the news, guys. We'll look. I know we all be looking.
Yeah, I don't see anything. So I did get obviously triggered stop break even on that trade. So that's fine. But yeah, that was very uncharacteristic. If you want to know why we're kind of reacting to that, is this is the 1 minute chart is right. Things were just grinding along fine. And then it reversed. So that's the time where I'm like, should have taken half off. I could have, right? But break even trade's a break even trade. I'll be fine with that. So now it comes to like I talked about is plan 2, right? So we talked about this. If the S&P 500 is going to pull into, and now it's 598, I'll take a shot again. Right? It took one break even trade. Let's see, maybe the next one will do okay. But yeah, it looks very something happened, very kind of washouty.
Yeah, that being said, I am seeing calls coming in on that dip on Amazon on my scanner there. So somebody's saying this is a buyout. They're often a little bit early on these, but when I see that after a big knife, that's often a really good sign on something, long or something big techy like that. Baba also is looking very nice. I think that the China trade might be on that, boys.
Yeah, I've been looking at that. I like the China trade. I'm telling you. FXI, nice pullback to hourly support. So I'm looking at FXI. I'm looking at Bob on 1 hour support, JD on 1 hour support. So they all just did that 1 hour support move.
Yeah, that's nice. I like that. I'm taking a little tiny position on Baba if I can get a pullback into some place that looks a little bit more risk managey. Right now it's popping up into VWAP, but that's definitely on my focus list here.
All right, guys,
Yeah,
added
it's
on the VIX pullback there. Let's see if the VIX rips off here now. This is the big watch for me. If we're really going to come down here, I think it's going to be a quick move in the VIX right back up.
Yeah, we just popped back into VWAP, so it could very well be a dead cat still.
Yeah, so on the Qs, right? Just watching that that 2-day VWAP still. Right?
Yeah, I
so
got
we,
you
we
guys.
hit it again, and we bounced. Right, so we're holding that pretty well. So I don't see any news that came through anything. So it could have just been someone taking a bunch of profits real quick.
And we should well, I'm kind of, I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this because I'm a little conflicted because part of me says, okay, we just had a big event. If Trump was going to do anything too outlandish that the market would be too scared of, then it's kind of a big break point on the first day that would be a place where it happens. So I was expecting to see some vol collapse, especially since we're kind of trying to break out here. But I could also see why, just by nature of Trump doing Trump things, it could inherently bring enough volatility into the market to
Yeah, I
offset
think
that.
one of the things you got to be thinking of is a lot of times it's a buy the rumor, sell the news event, right? Is this a buy the rumor, sell the news event, right? So the rumor, he's coming out, right? It's not really a rumor, but it's a known thing. It's already known ahead. It's like earnings, right? A lot of times, if you're expecting a stock to have good earnings, it runs into the earnings. And then even on good earnings, it can go down, right? And so that's what I'm looking at in the market right now. I feel like the first hour in the day, even maybe the first 4 hours of the day could be bearish and then followed by a rally into the after hours.
Okay. I'm here for it. Yeah, I'd like that in terms of just the timing of that, the weekly candle that I always talk about forming in the first couple of days of the week. So, we didn't get our Monday, but we got a chance to put a bottom wick and go. That's what the bull in me wants to see.
Big watch here on the Qs and the VIX. What you got, Michael?
Well, I just, to answer kind of what I thought there, I just think chop. right? I think that
Yeah.
high volatility chop, I think there's a lot of people with a lot of very charged emotions. As the Canadian that watches you guys go, man, everyone hates each other down there. But
Yeah.
when you get that, you don't get chop in the sense like what we saw on Friday, where the market just doesn't move. You get moves like this, where you have big spike downs and big reversals and big rips up and big. So as long as we're in motion state, that's what I foresee happening. So
that makes sense.
should have pulled the trigger again. I'm looking to maybe pull the trigger again on the Qs if we continue to hold here. My price would be worse, but the same synopsis is still coming in. We're holding this 2-day VWAP. So yeah, I am stalking for another shot here just to see if we can get that. That
I remember
higher.
early on, guys, I mentioned a trend that I saw, which was within the satellite space. It was Rocket Labs, it was PL, and there's VSAT continuing with a really nice trend today, guys. ViaSat, VSAT, really nice push there, guys. So keep your eyes on that one. It's a nice push.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. What I wanted to do, and I couldn't find a copy of it online, is I guess he signed like 50 executive orders yesterday. I just wanted to feed that into an AI and go, okay, no way I'm reading these things. Just tell me what they happen. I've been waiting for someone to kind of give that synopsis, and I haven't seen it yet. But I think that will be really interesting.
Sure you can pull them. I'll try to find them for you, Michael.
Yeah, just to see.
Sure, there's some government site that has them on there. So.
You would hope, but yeah,
you would hope, right?
Like
I like that one. You would hope, right? I mean, if you sign a whole bunch of these papers, I mean, it has to have a paper trail somewhere. You need to go to the actual White House. You need to get into the actual cabinet file, and you need to pull that one doc. Yeah.
Because with 50 executive orders, there has to be a couple that are going to be affecting some industries in like a very kind of tangible way, and some potential moves that could be taken there. Watching the Trump coin, it's still down 60% from all-time highs. I think this might be I haven't looked at DJT, but that might be dead now that there's this coin.
Yeah.
So DJT is crashing
I agree.
today.
I agree. That's exactly what you're probably seeing in DJT.
Yeah, I'm starting to see some buyers here on like Apple and Tesla. We might be close to bottoming out here on the half-hour flip. Something to keep an eye on. Yeah,
risk on $90 here for the VXX. It's heading down right now. I'm looking to see if it just does this undercut and rallies right back, but it looks like I'll be cut out right now here.
Maybe not. Might just keep on rolling.
We'll see. It's right on the low there.
Well, hey, Mitch, the nice thing is one of us is right, So
I hope so.
Yeah, maybe we're all wrong.
Yeah, I'm still watching. I'm still watching the VWAP here, right? We keep hitting it. If we bounce one more time, then I think I'll probably take another shot. I'll usually give any idea 3 attempts, especially if they're all 3 like big stop outs, then definitely not. But the first one was a break even. So if I get involved here again, if like this hit candle can hold as well, then that will be shot 2, and then any more than that, you want to make sure you're giving your idea a fair amount of attempts, but you're not revenge trading, and that's a very fine line to walk. Something that I am admittedly not great at, so that's why I just have the rule of 3. You got 3 shots, and then you're done.
Strike 3, you're out.
Exactly.
So Baba is trading into my volume shelf. I'm going to pick up a weekly call just as a complete lotto, because it is where I think the risk is good this week. If China continues, this is where I would like to see a catch. So very punty play, but just throwing out what I'm doing.
All right, just watching the VIX yo-yo right now. What are you seeing?
Just relative strength in MU. That's making me feel real good about a potential catch here when it's trying to pop on every red candle for the Qs. It also makes me hopeful that the Qs are close to bottoming, because somebody's saying, all right, this is what I want to buy on the dip. I'm going to front run the dip a little bit here. So hopefully I'm right. Hopefully I'm not building a false bias.
Yeah,
See how our brains, they're so good at that, right? Constructing patterns that fit our
So pattern that I can see out there right now, AMD 122 recovery. So this is an hourly long pullback into Friday's range, holding the 122 undercut, trying to come back into the green terms. I know that I'm long on the VIX, which would be the opposite play, but I always try to take a look at both sides of the market here. And so I think this is a setup here. We'll see what happens. If the Qs are going to go back to the high, I'd like to see AMD recover here back through the VWAP and then attempt the highs. If not, I'm looking at that VXX to see right now, can we get this to turn back to the upside? Right now, we did try to recover that 9 EMA, went to 42.78, couldn't get the push there. Q's a little choppy here. Let's see what happens. Do they take the lows or back to the VWAP?
You know, we got a little reversal action on Tesla potentially forming at this 410 level. As I say that now, it looks more just like it's trying to base in that zone. But, you know, I'm looking for these places on the tape pretty soon here where sellers get a little bit too overconfident into the whole, you know, like you're saying, Michael, everybody's really, not everybody, but there's a lot of emotions for the market right now, I think, to process. So I think that's volatility, which is opportunity, right? So if you're bullish, you pick your spot, take a stab.
Well, yeah, and that's so this morning I went over, I closed them, but the investor sentiment numbers, the AAII whatever numbers, have come through as the you know, the most bearish they've been all year, and quickly got as bearish as they are all year. And then we have everybody in the world who's deciding to buy the dollar instead of shorting it. So there's a lot of signs out there that, right, people are just, they're bared up, and they're bared up for no reason that I can understand. So usually that's kind of what you want to see, is if everyone gets too bared up, then usually you get some good buying opportunities. But
Right.
not going to take that second attempt. Just looking at how that candle closed, I got to wait for another one now.
Yeah. It doesn't make you feel great when that happens, but I am still seeing a little bit of yeehaw here, and MU still didn't give up much ground on that little pullback. So fingers crossed that they're shaking the tree here. But man, it doesn't feel good, does it?
They're shaking it.
Yeah, it's like when you kind of what I'm looking to see, and like we saw before, when you had that pullback and it just ripped from that level, that's kind of how you want to see support and resistance respected. Ideally, right? You want to see it come down. You want to see just a buy program just step in and said, okay, we wanted to buy when it hit this price, and start to rip. Now,
and that's what I think we're starting to see here. I hope so. Maybe not, but I did see that little sharp wick up there on that that dip down. Maybe it's in my head. Maybe I'm seeing what I want to see. Always first day of the week, I'm a little jumpy.
So yeah, what I might just do is look for something like this. I love that you can just draw these out. I really suggest that new traders do this as well, where you can just draw out these risk reward kind of plays. So yeah, what I might do is just buy a break of the last candle's high, put my stop to low, and then you can draw it out and say, okay, if we get to that pre-market high, that's a 1.68 R, right? So you can just draw these out, especially if you're new, or if you're someone like me who's just not great at day trading. You draw out your risk rewards and just say, hey, is this something that makes sense to me? If so, right, I certainly want to get involved, because that might be a way to do it, is just say, hey, if we break the prior candle's low, you know, that's going to be the sign that, yes, we're holding this. And if we don't, we just fall apart here. There's no trade. But hey, you can draw these out, make sure at least, you know, it makes sense for like a 1-to-1. And if you can't at least get that, then it's not a trade you should take, right? So 1-to-1 would be here, you know. And the way I look at it is that for scalps, 1-to-1 is okay in the long run. You know, you're not going to do fantastic, but it'll be fine. But you're generally looking for at least 1.5 or 2-to-1 to make it so that you can be wrong more than you're right and still do okay.
Yeah, don't forget, guys, you can do this right on Trade the Pool's platform, right? You guys can just look at the bottom left. You'll find this little kind of ruler, long position, short position. It'll calculate everything for you, from risk return ratio to P&L to where you would be making, right, percentage wise. So take a look at that, guys. You can definitely go ahead and check that out.
I think we're getting the SPY program starting to kick in here. I might be reading into it, but I don't know. my tape reading spidey senses are starting to tingle here for the turnout.
Yeah, I think one thing I see right now, 1, 2, 3, this is the fourth attempt to wash out on both of the charts, right? The Qs and the VIX, right? So I could draw it really quickly, but you guys can see those bottoming attempts, right? There's 1, there's 2, right? We just had a third that looked a little weak. Now we get this kind of action right here. This is going to be the determining action, right? Do we go back and test a low or quickly to the VWAP?
Absolutely. And what I'm looking for here is leaders to keep leading. So we have MU breaking high of day here. That's the kind of thing I'd like to see. You know, that's feeling good. We're seeing Tesla kind of curl up off the bottom a little, but still a laggard here. I want to see Apple push out of the space that it's forming. I got scared because the chart on my screen went down a bunch, but it's VIX. We're good, guys. So that's
no bueno for me.
Oh, shoot. You're still in. I'm sorry, Mitch.
Nah, you're good. Don't worry about it. Looking at AMD on that hourly recovery, we'll see if it gets back to 122 if the Qs start to get that real spike, right? I think this is just kind of that line in the sand. Let's see what takes it. And it's 10 a.m. This happens often, right, guys? 9:45, 10 a.m. reversals. Let's see if we get one today.
Yeah, so the Qs, I think, like you mentioned, we haven't gotten a 5-minute close above the VWAP, and I just anchored mine from this pre-market high. I think that's a pretty important area. So if we can get a close above that, it could be kind of game on. But until then, we just kind of keep coming up and having these topping, bottoming tails. I looked at the economic forecast there, and there's nothing. There's not even any Fed guys yapping for no reason, which is surprising. Usually they're here doing something. So that's another way.
The rest break right before next week's.
Oh, they're not allowed to talk. Good.
Yeah, they're on the block.
They should always be like that. They should never be allowed to talk. Doesn't do good for anyone.
Agree, but
so that'd be another way to do it, right? A break and a close above VWAP could signal a reversal on the day, and then your stop could be this VWAP right here. That'd be another potential way to play it. Right? You just take a trade like that. I may get involved if we break back above. I call it 55.2250 again. That might be the shot here.
Just got filled on a trim of my MU that I was adding with the lower side of it today. So it's managing risk on that, but I still got a nice little sizable piece. And I'm watching the, the 20 moving average on just the 1 minute chart, just as a rough guide here. And it still is telling me the sellers are still in control. I think that shift is starting to happen, but can't say that bulls are ready to go yet.
Yeah, 5 minutes I think are very important right here, guys. 5-minute charts all kind of in lining. You see multi-time frames on this pattern, right? You're seeing a 5-minute setup, 15-minute setup, 1 minute setup. And so with that being said, I think we got to just watch to see what plays out, right? On the 15-minute, looks like a setup, right? On the 1 minute, it looks like a setup. On the 5-minute, looks like a setup. I think we just got to wait here. Let's see what happens here.
Well, U-turn, going deeper.
That's why I'm still in the VIX, right? I'm just letting it play out. The trade's going to cost me a little bit more, but if I cut it here and then the trade goes in my direction, I'm just left scratching my head.
No, good read. And there's the flush, right? Boom.
We'll see if it really happens, though, right? This is the beginning flush, right? And so this is that fourth attempt. This is where I say you either get a wick reversal or a big bar closing on the weak side of the candle, right? Not like it comes back. So I'll look to see if it's a big bar closing on the bottom, on the low, versus it coming back here towards, let's say, 522.
Yeah, and the SPY finally fell. So we've been watching the Qs, but I just want to keep going back to the SPY because the relative strength there is pretty wild. Again, just showing us that, yeah, big tech's having a bit of a bad time, but if the SPY is holding up, it means the other sectors are doing okay to try to hold up with the market. We can go back to the heat map. Still, everything's pretty green. There's not a lot. You know, we have Bitcoin miners selling. That's kind of what they do. But everything else is still holding on actually pretty good, with RSP still showing up nearly 1%. So that's the difference here, right? If we take a look at RSP, you can see up on the day, still green on the day. And then we take a look at the SPY, right? The SPY is up on the day, but it has a red candle. So showing us again, big cap tech is selling. Everything else is doing okay. IWM is actually looking pretty good. So this might just be a Trump is good for small cap guys. Might be good for that and might not be that bad for, or might not be that good for big cap tech. So a lot of these themes I think you're going to start seeing hammer out as time goes on is what do people think is going to be the industry that benefits, and what do we think is going to be the industry that kind of suffers.
Yeah, industry that's getting a nice little push today, and well, just overall sector, healthcare, right? A lot of names looking interesting there. Gilead, Bristol Myers, just some names that are up over 1% there. So just want to mention that it's not all red out there, but I am starting to see some stocks going into the red. What are those stocks? Those are technology, cyclicals, energy is in the red now. And I look at it on the, let's take a look here, just to, I'll refresh this just to make sure. The last 15 minutes, what is down the most? So if I look at the last 15 minutes, what's down the most? Technology and cyclicals. So that's not a good thing to see.
No, and you know what we've talked about a lot while we were preparing for this day and for the inauguration, everything is just this, right? The things that have worked last year might not work this year. People might take profits, especially if they don't think that Trump will be really good for that particular sector. They may sell that sector and then come in and start buying other areas and other sectors. And yeah, like you mentioned, this XLV or healthcare chart is actually looking really good comparatively to what we're seeing there in the market, where we're breaking recent highs. We're holding pretty strong. And then just compare that again to the Qs, where we are actually now red on the day. So the Qs are red. So big cap tech is down on the day. RSP, which is just your average large cap stock, it's up almost 1%. Things are doing great when it comes to most stocks. Just a couple ones aren't doing good. So, right, make sure you're broadening your horizons. We have IWM up 0.74 today. So selling off a little bit, but it's still doing okay. So yeah, just make sure you're focusing. It's one of those days where you'll tune in to CNBC and they'll go, oh, right, the market is down because of Trump, and this is the reason it's up and this is the reason it's down, and they never kind of look under the hood, right? And that's what we do a lot here, is saying, okay, so you know, the Qs are down, but the average large cap stock is doing absolutely fine. So we need to find where that imbalance is. Some stuff's going up, some stuff's going down. Let's try to focus on what's going up at least a little bit. And looking at the chart here, again, XAR, which is defense, is continuing to break out to new all-time highs. Certainly not a bearish thing, just means that that's a benefit that they think is going to happen with the new administration. ITA is another defensive stock doing fantastic. We have NLR and URA, which are two uranium names, doing fine. Home builders and banks. So there's a lot of sectors out there. So make sure you're focused on the right place. If your stocks are selling off, that doesn't mean the market's bad. It just means those particular stocks are bad. Seen a bounce in the Qs as well.
Sorry to interrupt. I did just I saw a double pinging flow on my Palantir flow scanner. So I did take a small speculative position on that, thinking that it's oversold and a very interesting stock for people this week to play a rebound.
Mm-hmm.
So just something to keep in mind. It's looking interesting and appealing at these levels again after running pretty hot for a week and a half or so off the bottoms.
And that classify that as a defensive name, you think? In with the
heck, I don't know, man. You could throw it in the growth basket, in the meme basket, in the defensive basket. It can be whatever you need it to be, brother. You know.
That's literally it with Palantir, right? Nobody knows what the hell it does. They just say it does this, it does this.
My friend says it's Call of Duty themed Excel. So
I'm telling you, man, nobody knows what the hell goes underneath the hood at Palantir.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
They just read the press releases, and I can't blame them because the press releases, they sound awesome.
Yeah. MU still cooking strong. Q's starting to look like it wants to call this a scoop out, a little undercut, false breakdown, and go. But you know, we still got some work to do. I'm just the bull looking for the possible upside.
Yeah, man, I can't blame you on that. I think both of it. I think you're getting a fight right now, and also the quantum names. Take a look at the Rigetti today, QUBT fight right now on the pullback here. Is this just a pullback to buy? Is this gonna be a collapse from here? I mean, the MACDs are saying that this could still get a nice little push back, right back up higher. So keep your eyes on that, guys. I am getting a little bit of a VIX washout here. Let's see if it actually washes me out and cuts me out, or does it just undercut and rebound right back up? I'm going to set a stop right underneath the low right now, which is 48s. But just kind of get that out there, guys, so you guys can take a look to see if you get the Qs rip here. Let's see what happens.
It's interesting. So I brought up this RGTI, and we had this anchored VWAP from the high before the pump and dump right here. And you can see for the last 4 or 5 days, just cannot get above, cannot get below, just kind of consolidating sideways. So that's saying that the average market participant's kind of right here. And yeah, we're not able to get above, we're not able to get below. So this price is going to be very important. Nice break, maybe some continuation. If we fail, then that's kind of that last dying breath of this industry that I think is kind of going to go on here. But you mentioned there's something going on with Nvidia, with them, or with the quantum computing soon. So that might be the way to take the play.
Yeah, that event goes further into the year, so I wouldn't stress too much about that right now. I think it's just simply just this is kind of that 1 minute first, like 3 or 4 waves. Now you're getting that ABC correction kind of move here. Classic setup. Now the question is, do you want to take it, right? I mean, I'd like to see it pop towards 12 Rigetti here and then pull back to the VWAP around 1170s, 11 right here, right around the area where you'd be probably getting in for the long earlier. I'd look for the pop and then the pullback, because that will get the MACD to actually cross. Right now it's trying to cross but hasn't.
Yeah, they're trying, you know.
They're trying for sure.
I'm still not buying it, but
Ion Q, very similar setup, right? And they're all the same pretty much. Names that are better, at least just for the day, VSAT. That's holding really well. Rocket Labs, those space names are doing really well. Of course, recently we got a New Glenn rocket that went up and did pretty well. So the space industry is actually showing a lot of lift. That tells me keep your eyes on that. PL is another one there that has pulled back to the 425.
One more for space. SPIR looks incredible for a long-term trade. This thing looks insane. It's running pretty hot short term, but that's because it's doing a major weekly breakout. But this is a name to be in SPY, or space. I think they do satellites or something. A nice push here. We're starting to get what I was looking for. Still has not confirmed yet. I'd want to see it go over the order block at 522.75 on Qs and post a stick over that. But the Palantir trade's working. Those little autos up 20.
Yeah, the Qs are definitely digging in a little bit, back above that VWAP. So maybe I didn't take that second try, but I'm still watching here. Still technically could be a flush out.
Yeah. I mean, it went up to the 200-minute moving average and immediately got batted down a little there. So something to keep an eye on for sure.
Yeah, and on the 1 minute pattern, and rejected the 50 EMA there. So you can see how multiple time frames sometimes can run in line there. I think you just have to wait to see if we get above towards like 524s, get a clear breakout here. If not, you could trade within the chop between these Qs. And I think the Qs are very important. That's the area that I still see red. So if I look at what's red, yeah, Qs are technology still red from the open. So what can lead us higher, right? Another thing to look at, right? Instead of looking at the weakness, what can be strong that can push us strong, right? So the industrial space is doing really well today. CAT, you got GE up, RTX, right? Lockheed Martin, names that I brought. Hey, look at Lockheed Martin now, guys. We talked about maybe potentially closing the 500. It's at 504 already, almost to the 200-day moving average.
Look at that.
That was one that I was watching, had on the playbook, guys. This is one that I need to be able to trade a little bit more. It's just harder with the spread. So you got to be after, you got to kind of a ladder approach with these to try to get a better entry. But really good day. And RTX was the reason why I looked at this, right? And we talked about Boeing, right? And pulling back to the VWAP there. A really nice pullback to the VWAP right underneath it, right back up.
All right, we got Palantir pushing again. Looking for 71 to 80 there.
Still a battle, I think. The VIX is starting to come back a little bit there. So I think you're still seeing a little bit of a battle there. Still
Yeah,
not clear as day that the bulls have it there. Tesla's down 5%. That's also dragging the market, right? I mean, 5% on Tesla down. That's no small feat there.
That's probably a dip to start looking to buy, in my opinion.
Yeah, if the market's coming back, right? If you feel that way, that could be easily one that could work its way back to the mean. What are you seeing, Michael?
Well, no, I was just a note on your, talking about Tesla. The one thing I did know he signed was something about just destroying the EV mandate, which I'm sure doesn't make his buddy Elon too happy, but that could be what we're seeing here. So again, I'm still looking for my play here. Take second play. I still bullish on the day, especially now that we're back above that VWAP. And I think I just may use this anchored VWAP from these highs here, and just look for a close above that. Basically say if we can close above this, and that's like 522.50. If we can get a move above there, I'll get involved. I'll probably use this prior low at 521 as a stop loss, and then see if we can get a high day break, and then be selling into that. So I think that's kind of the game plan. Just building these plans as I go, just to see, because again, I do think that we're bullish. I just don't know if it's going to be today or if we're going to, chop around for a few days before the market makes a direction.
Just a heads up, I did just I got a fill on my Palantir. Took half of my calls off there for 30%. Just banking some easy money because the hard money's a little tougher today on my swings. But just what you're talking about, watching the leaders. So that's kind of why I was looking for Palantir to bottom right where it did, and it's just been straight green off the bottom. So now if this one starts pulling back, then I'm going to be starting to be extra cautious on another pullback on SPY and Qs too. Still rejecting short-term moving averages on my 1 minute chart on indices, but it's looking more constructive. So yeah, one leader to watch, man. I'm telling you, MU is just a champion today. It's acting very good for a continued breakout.
Back and forth action out there, guys. Be careful out there.
Yeah. Holding that, again, that 2-day VWAP, I think, is very, very important. We're holding that for sure.
Apple trying to bottom out. I'm watching that one too. It's in a kind of a bearish flag. I would put a pennant. Yeah, I put a pennant on that. So you're getting that bearish pennant on Apple. See if that reverses back to above the VWAP. That'd be a good sign for the market.
Alrighty. Yeah. I am just in runners now. I have paid for my day and I'm not giving it back.
That's a good mentality.
Yeah, feels good. It's always I wouldn't say that I love this job, but it is stressful, when you're in multiple active positions. It feels good when you lock it in.
Yeah, I mean that's what you're here for, right? Is just like any athlete would look into it, right? I'm here to execute. Once I did the play that I need to play, I need to make what I need to make, and then I need to go ahead and just put it on a little bit of that afterburner. Play safe, right? Be smart.
Well, I'm just here for the good vibes, but I know what you're saying.
No, it's true. I mean, it's just like we watched a lot of football. If you guys are football fans this weekend, a lot of teams making a little bit of errors. And why? Because they're pushing the gas pedal when probably they shouldn't, and then not hitting the brake pedal when they should, right? And so this is what we all battle. This is what we all battle, guys.
We are getting an attempted breakout on Qs that got batted down. It probably needs to cook a little bit more. We had about 7 minutes of consolidation. So no worries there. Not bearish if it isn't ready to go. But I'm just seeing leaders continue to, you give them an inch, they take a mile here, SPY goes down a little bit, MU goes down a quarter of that, and then goes higher on the next candle up. Same with Palantir.
Well, and just those fights that we were talking about, right? Like the same, we mentioned that this morning, right? A lot of emotions running high. A lot of people are going to be putting big buy orders and sell orders based off, ideologue reasons and everything. But I'm getting close to getting triggered here, which is going to be, again, above that 522.50. So I may just take, again, this is my second shot. I'm doing this on the TQQQs, which for those who don't know are just leverage versions of the Qs. So I don't use the leverage in a way that I want to take more risk. I just use it in a way that I get to apply less capital, is the way that I look at it. So, which is how I suggest other people. I know they look, oh, 3 times leverage, I can put my whole account into it, right? Make 3 times more. The way
it'll feel real bad on one bad 5-minute candle. So I don't recommend it. I've done it. I don't recommend it.
No, and that's how I look at it. I say, well, 3 times leverage, same with options, means I can apply less capital, right? The options are one of those things that a lot of people look at and say, oh, well, you get that, you can do a 0 DTE and YOLO your whole life, or it's, hey, I can define my risk, because if I buy this, right, at 0 DTE for $100 and that's what I wanted to risk in the trade, then I just buy it and I walk away until the close. Use them for what they're intended for, which is not gambling vehicles. It's just a way
Absolutely. I really want to. I just want to hammer that home, because it's been so key for my personal trading. It's just like, because especially when you start getting into the leverage stuff like 0 DTEs or weeklies, anything like that, it's so key to look at it mathematically, because if you stare at 1-minute candles, you will drive yourself insane. Like 100%, because your option is going to move 30% on a candle, and your thesis isn't changing 30% on a candle, So yeah, like I took that fuse call this morning, I sold it for 30%, it came back down. It would have wiped me out. It would have been down 70%, but I just bought it. My new one's down 20%, but my risk is already paid for. So I'm up on the day, and now it's starting to, oh, well, look at that. It's about to go green. So yeah, it's just placing little targeted $50 to $100 bets that can really have a lot of upside if you catch the move correctly.
Yeah, one that held the VWAP today, guys. I gotta mention it. Tempest, man, it hasn't gone down below the VWAP all day long.
Oh, crime! Pelosi crime.
Nancy, man. You think some people were watching this because of Nancy? You think?
Yeah.
I think a few. I think 1 or 2.
Oh, Nancy.
Oh, good old Nancy. What about Kathy, the Omen?
What about the greatest wealth destroyer of all time?
That's the real fear and greed.
She still owes me a couple.
She
still owes me a couple bags, man. She at least owes me a couple bags at least. But
dude, I mean, I kind of think it's the big brain play for this year, because I mean, she's banked all that tax loss harvesting. Everybody's so silly bullish. I mean, I caught the very end of your ARC pitch, Michael, and I see what you're seeing. It looks like something that I'd want to long, which is a weird thing to be saying about ARC, but here we are.
Well, here's a theme that's doing well today that is one to keep watch for 2025. Archer Aviation's doing pretty well today, up about 4.8%, almost 5% on the day. Doing pretty well there, guys. Another biotech that's doing well today, RXRX. I know we've seen that one before, make good moves. Pinterest doing well. SoFi doing well. We talked about that one before the open today. A lot of that based on, I think, just financials overall looking good. Moderna bouncing back today. Shop showing up on the scanners. AMD, we'll look to see if it gets back above that 22 and 122 and really starts to push. Unity having a decent day today. We'll see what happens out there. Meta is one that I'm watching to see if it can recover. Just keeping an eye on that. And then Tesla starting to finally get the bounce. Coin getting wrecked today. We'll see if it starts to work its way back.
That's interesting. So, Mitch, I'm curious, for Coin, do you think this is a potential back test to buy this kind of wedge break type?
Yeah, so they always want to break it if it made it too easy on the breakout, right? And so I think that's easy. One thing that I can think. Yeah, a lot of people were watching for it. Now I think the 90 MA pullback on a day like today makes sense to me, right? I always take a look at, just forget yesterday, act like that Friday candle never happened. Right? If you're back in this Thursday pricing, and what happened there? You undercut 268, we came back through 270s. So right now, I think you're going to have swing traders looking at that 270. Like, I can risk on that. That's what, $9 down, and we just went from $22 up. So not bad risk to return there. I think swing traders will be watching Coin.
Yo,
yeah.
Absolutely. Palantir's going crazy here. If anybody's in, that thing's leading strong.
Palantir, baby. Did Trump get into Palantir?
Dude, well, because my scanner usually does like 1 strike out of the money weeklies, right? And I saw Palantir 74 strikes light up when it hit 71. And I was like, oh boy, what a range. What a range. They are really ripping and dipping this bad boy. It's a fun trade.
Well, and yeah, the Qs, right? Same thing, right? Where we go QQQ, and that had that flush out that got everyone nervous, and at least for now,
Yeah.
we're holding that. So that's going to be the key, because if they did that with the whole market, then yeah, throw a dart at your large tech names, and you're going to be doing fantastic things. Just whether or not they hold. I did take the trade, so we did break the Anchor View app from there. So now I'm just kind of risking, not quite at those lows, but near them, and then just looking for kind of a 1.5. So that's the second attempt on this thing. I think is just they did the dip. They got everyone bearish, and I wouldn't be shocked if we go and break highs, or at least get close to them. Again, it could just be that choppy kind of up down market. Looking at the dashboard, right? You guys are talking about coin, and WGMI is now down 4.5%.
Oh, we're not gonna make it, boys. That's too bad.
The worst performing sector.
Rigetti breaking 12 there, guys. 12 13th now on Rigetti. So you're getting those quantum names get a little bit of a lift there. We'll look to see if they can keep pushing there. So quantum names starting to get pushed.
Note, I believe Note is a quantum name. It's a fun small cap stock. Shout out Pennycheck on Twitter, Undefined Mystic. He's awesome. He puts out some really good heat, and that is one to watch for a kind of like a swing trade, I'd say. That thing can go crazy.
What's the ticker?
I think that's quantum. Maybe it is Note, but maybe I'm thinking of the wrong ticker. Maybe that's not the AI play. But that's definitely a Pennycheck play. It looks great.
I'm calling this one Churro. I don't know why, but I'll still keep calling it Churro over here. CHRO, Channel Therapeutics. But you just became a nice cinnamon stick churro here. We'll see what happens. It's above 3. This is the one I played earlier with the small account. Was able to make money. Can it get the pop above 3 again? We'll wait and find out. It's not a bad looking pattern here. I just would need to see some volume really start to make the move.
Yeah, surprising.
The crazy part is the market's still choppy there a little bit, right? I mean,
that's what I was about to say. Yeah, everything's still fighting, right? There's nothing. It looks like a lot of stuff's going on because it's high volatility, but it's high volatility chop. There's not a
which is great for day traders, right? I mean, we're getting looks here.
Yeah, this is why sometimes I like to stick to themes of the day, right? Sometimes, and just say, hey, maybe I'll go trade that theme, because right now, look at this space right here, aerospace and defense. I'm just looking at some of the names that are leading: RDW, RKLB, SIDU, LUNR, right? PL. We just mentioned PL right before it when it was at 425 on the pullback. Why? Because there was other ones that were ripping. Archers in this space, right? So one thing that I always try to talk about is that it's always great to try to find the industries and sectors that are hot, because it can give me the odds to try to get some winners, right? If I go and I take here and I look at all the names here, there's probably going to be at least a majority in the green. And that's what I'm looking for, guys. I'm looking to find trades like that, because if I can find trades like that, I can go ahead and give myself the probability to a higher probability to end in the green.
Yeah, it's just where the emotions are, right? That's what we always talk about, is that I think the worst thing that a lot of traders do is they just trade stuff that no one cares about. It's either stuck in the middle of a range, or it's, they have I trade NVIDIA and I come in and trade NVIDIA every day. Well, sometimes NVIDIA, people care about it. Sometimes they don't. There will be a time, I know it doesn't seem like it now, but there will be a time where nobody cares about it anymore, right? It's not going to do anything. So yeah, you're right. Sometimes it just makes sense, especially when the market is choppy like this, to look at something, right? I think that XAR, like I see you got LMT up there, right? I think the defense and aerospace names, that's a good place to go. That was one that we were watching that was strong off the open. Continues to be strong. So if you're looking for pullback, revision to the mean trade, whatever it is that you're looking for, I do think, defense is going to be a good place to take a shot at that.
Yeah, and it gives us the best of both worlds, right? I have a sector, an industry watch here for aerospace and defense in one industry, right? So like that gives it a nice little bonus. It's up 2.86%. You got airports up today. We talked about jets and how that's been doing well. You're also going to see Joby on there, right? And you're going to see Archer, Blade, those types of names. That's a theme that I think is really starting to gain some kind of move. I didn't expect this one to gain so much momentum, but Joby, Archer, they're still staying hot, guys.
Yeah, all strong charts for sure. It's impressive. I'm surprised they had this much legs, but I guess it's a good spot to be in with geopolitical instability and a lot of moving parts, right?
Yeah, and I think there's just so much bet on deregulation or no regulation.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And so
Well, and I think that's what's causing the biotech moves as well, right? Is because the last administration didn't seem like much of a fan of buyouts, and most of the way, if you're buying a small biotech name, most of the time, what they're looking for is a buyout, right? They're creating a drug, and then they hope that that drug has some efficacy, and then Pfizer, Eli Lilly, or something comes and gives them, here's 5x whatever your stock price is right now, and they buy it. And that was something that was being hampered a lot, that I think people think is going to start to reignite, is this mergers and acquisitions. So that's the same with kind of all cheap names, right?
I was going to say not just cheap names though, but also for mega caps. I mean, non-compete, type regimes like Lena Khan. The market hates her, but she was one of the few people in government really looking out for the average consumer. And deregulation makes things go up, right? Not necessarily for the betterment of society, or who knows. That's a different conversation. But it's definitely a regime change of. Let's Reaganomics this thing, to some extent or another. So it's a theme to watch for sure. But mega caps, we're seeing momentum names break out too. They love just buying out companies that maybe they shouldn't because of monopoly reasons, but that's very bullish, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. And that, again, I think that's what's driving a lot of this, is that if Apple can start growing by buying up robotics names or AI names or whatever, they're fine with growing that way. They just didn't have that option before. So interesting comment in the chat there saying Coinbase is having 10-hour withdrawal delays. That is not what you want to see. That takes me back to the old school days of crypto, where that's how you knew an exchange was going bankrupt. And I don't think Coinbase is going to go bankrupt. But yeah, 10 hours withdrawal delays is pretty. It's pretty.
So Michael, just to touch on your whole anchored VWAP. Speaking of which, everybody who bought Trump coin on Hood is underwater. So what does that do for price action? That's not very bullish.
I'm watching the coin. It was right. The Trump coin's down 67% from all-time highs, and Melania's down like 78 or something percent from all-time highs. But I think there's still trades. I think
normal for crypto. Like, people are saying it's a rug pull, and honestly, they don't look like rug pull charts to me. They just look like crypto charts.
Well, no, and you're right. You can look into the tokenomics. So they're locked up. The Melania coin's not locked up, so she can start selling that whenever they want. But the Trump coin's locked up, at least for a while. But what I will say is that the sell-off we're seeing in DJT, what I think is going to happen, just a bit of a rant time, is that I don't think DJT is going to be the thing anymore when it comes to it. This is a bad company, right? There's no one looking at this company saying,
right?
No one's looking at this saying. But the thing is, with the company, it loses money every day, every week, right? It's constantly hemorrhaging money until this thing goes to zero. But if I just want to take bets on kind of sentiment behind Trump, the meme coin makes way more sense, because it's not losing money day over day, week over week. It just exists, right? So
it's a meme for a meme. It makes complete sense, right?
It just cuts out the middleman. Where we're no longer, right? We're no longer using a company that is going to be a meme stock. We're just saying, hey, let's just trade the meme in general. And the shockingness. Now, you guys have Robinhood. We've got Wealth Simple up here. It's like a Robinhood clone, but we don't have a lot of banks or brokers up here in Canada. And this one's usually pretty slow to add new crypto to it. Like a day, and this Trump coin was on it. It doesn't even have
such a red flag for me. I was like, oh no,
it's getting added everywhere. So I don't know. I'm not like you. I think my game plan with the Trump coin, I have it up here, is I'm like you talked about. I am simply going to anchor a VWAP from the all-time highs. So this is from the Radium exchange. So this was the moment it was launched. Right, there's your all-time highs of $70. I think that's the play. Right? If we can get above that, if some time goes by, then the anchor VWAP will come down. If if we can get above that and hold, you maybe get involved with a stop at the lows. Now, like we talked about, you have to trade something like this like it's a call option or something. If you're right, you're probably going to double your money or plus. If you have to be 100% okay if this thing's going to zero, unless you're someone who's actually read the white paper and you understand if it can or cannot be rugged and all this kind of stuff. But again, I just think this is going to be the new vehicle where DJT is going to fail. I think this one can survive because, again, they're not. It just exists now. They're not hemorrhaging money anymore. They don't need to do anything to it. The thing that I would watch for this one is those lockup dates, which I heard was around 2 years, which is very interesting that it's going to vest while he's in office, so he can, I don't know, do something great in the public stage and then dump the coin on people's head. But that's 2 years from now. That's in crypto years. It's a million years away. We'll have flying cars powered by quantum computers by then. So
my friends joke about monthly options being leaps, but those are true leaps for crypto. That's another galaxy over there. One other thing, just to give an idea on the range, if you're trading this thing, I was helping my friend scalp it this weekend. I don't even remember which day when it was coming down off the highs, and then we were looking at the anchored view app and we were buying overextended moves down in like the 42 range and then scalping it off up to 50, 60, something like that. It's crazy ranges, but you had to have a giant stop and a small position size because it was moving 20% on meme reversion moves.
Yeah, and again, you're doing it like a call option, right? So all you're doing is saying, hey, if I'm going to buy this, I'm going to put a stop out, but you need to understand that stop could be 20 or 30% off, right? If I'm going to buy it at, say, 10, for example, or I'm going to put my stop at 10, I need to understand by the time I actually got out, it would be at 5, right? The thing can just blow through whatever. There's not like a lot of liquidity in a name like this.
The way these momentum stocks trade too, you'll never think your stop is triggered when you get in because it's like just the insane chase factor where you get a pullback to VWAP and you feel like the luckiest guy in the world, but it took a it took a 50% or 30% pullback to get there, so you got to be really stick and move. Like it's very, very easy to rug yourself, and everybody thinks they won't get rugged, but man, it can happen in one candle on these things.
Yeah, definitely. All right, guys, I do want to jump in here really quickly to play a little game with you guys. Spot that pattern here we're going to play today, guys. Like always, we're going to do a little bit of an engagement segment. Then we do a little bit of deep dive segment. Our deep dive, we'll do it right at the end. We're going to take a look at what stocks were doing really well today, and are they Trump stocks, right? And so we'll see what happens with that. The overall market making a little move to the upside there, then now shaking a little bit to the downside. We'll see if we do get downside back towards the 15-minute lows or not. I'm still hanging out in the VIX there. It's probably just going to be my trade of the day, whether I make or lose money on this. That's just what it's going to be, right? So we'll see what happens there. And it's just a little bit of back and forth. But let's go to spot that pattern here, guys. And you guys in the chat, what pattern is this here on CHRO, right? I'll make it a little bit bigger so you guys can see it there. And it doesn't look bad at all, right? I think this pattern is pretty obvious there. And some might say that you like to handle with this in the morning. So let's see who gets this one, guys. It's a really nice, easy setup here. What are you guys thinking in the chat? Let's see who gets it first here in the chat.
Mitch, I see two options too, depending on how you're feeling on the market sentiment.
Exactly.
So I'm curious.
Most patterns will do that, which is the funny thing about them, right? It's either X or Y depending on what happens next. That's why we usually want to wait for some sort of pattern completion before we kind of commit ourselves, I guess.
All right, now catching up with the chat also, guys. We did this spot the pattern. We'll look for some guesses in the chat, but also keep throwing up names that you guys want us to take a look at, especially towards the end of the day. That's when we can really kind of give you a little bit further assessment of what we're seeing. Someone asked about AMD. For me, still 122 recovery, the big spot for that. It just went above and below it, right? So we'll see what happens if it's able to hold that.
For me, from long term on AMD, it's just, I always got to say, you just got to buy the strongest one, right? If you're bullish semis, why not go after the leader, the big guy? I mean, AMD has just been hanging out near lows, not able to get going. Same
Ooh,
with
buy
Intel.
stick. Sorry to interrupt, but I just saw the algorithmic stick. If this candle closes like this, I think that we are capping downside pretty close to this area. It seems like this is an area. Oh, oops, let me pull it up here. So basically just, it's hard to see on this, but the impulse of that move up, where basically it was hovering down here and we had 7 seconds left to close, and then it jolted up here. So to me, that was kind of like catching people offsides on this one candle here, where it looked like it might break down and form a bigger low. So for me, what I'd like to see, and you can see on my chart, this yellow area is higher time frame order block or support, or demand zone essentially. So I really like to see it respecting that and then pushing strongly. Obviously, this is 1 minute stuff. It's pretty tweaky, in the weeds. So, but patterns got to change on some time frame, right? They start on the lowest, and obviously we want to be biased going higher time frame in.
Yep.
But every change has to start on the lower end. So that's why when I see a change of character on the tape like that, I might be obnoxious and jump in and interrupt really quick, ruin your flow. But
no, it's not a bad one. I mean, you're seeing the battle right there between the Bulls and the Bears, and you're seeing some of the Bulls try to take it. Now the question is, look for closing action, right? A lot of the 1 minute stuff happens, and then you get a wick, right? That's what we're seeing now, a wick down, right?
Right. So now I'm watching 5 minute candle closes, like you were mentioning, especially around that 600 area. And then if that looks good, then I'll look for 15 candle closes and expand like that.
Exactly. And then that can be where you take a trade on a 1 minute, but then you're looking for a 5 or 15 minute confirmation and conviction that you timed the trade right. And so that's what I can look at sometimes. So of course the lovely pattern here is of course none other than everybody's favorite mug here. Let's do this a little full screen action here. You gotta get this right, guys, and you gotta get your own, right? It's all just the cup and handle, right? Just the cup and handle pattern there.
Oh, we got the merch. Very nice.
Yeah.
Looks good.
You know it. Pinkies up, guys. Pinkies up. You gotta get it. You gotta get it. You gotta get it. You don't have it already, you're missing out. But yeah, definitely, guys. We'll see if we can get this to go right back up. So I always like when this has like a whole dollar like this, where it went up and now it's giving you that whole dollar. Normally, I look for the 90 MA to hold a little bit. It seems like it's like chopping right there on the 50, which is that yellow line. So let's see if it can get back above these areas, right, where you have some moving average and some kind of a VWAP all in play. Back above that 325s, we'll look to see if it makes the run back to 4.
Mitch, I am a cup and handles are literally my favorite pattern of all time. So that's where my brain went. Just devil's advocate here. I do like to see that right wall. I like to see the pullback hold the 50% kind of fib of that. I don't want to see it getting too much, showing too much more weakness. Often for the really strong ones, you won't even get that 50% pullback. It'll be maybe like to the 62 fib or something of the range. Yeah. But we could be seeing double top. It doesn't necessarily look like it the way that it's trying to base, like you're saying, on that confluence of support. But
so your mentality would be in the circle there versus the square, right? And so you can see how that comes into play there. That's the 50% right above it, around the 325 spot from kind of that dip down, right? And so we'll see how that kind of performs now, right? Can it get that next push? Do you draw the fib from the early run or from the pullback?
That would draw it like that, and I'd want it to hold the 50% of that move essentially. Yep. And I might be, I should refresh my pattern. What is it? The Bulkowski book of patterns. That's such a fun one. I think his rules are from the right wall, but it could be from the left wall. But basically, you're measuring the size of the cup base, and you don't want too much more than a 50% pullback unless it's showing strong incentive to be bought under that level, like big wicks up.
All right. Well, there's a little game for us today. They'll spot the pattern. All right, guys, let's get back to the market. How are we looking here, Michael? What are we seeing here?
Oh, that's the defense guy. But
another pattern.
Watching the cues here, where we're still battling. Like the low of this VWAP here is very, very important. It's just a chop fest, which after a big gap up, and after the move we had, doesn't really surprise me. Again, we could see the resolution of this in the afternoon. But I'm still just fascinated on how the RSP, the equal weighted names, are holding. Very, very bad to be someone who's just trading big cap tech, but really good to be someone who is trading a variety of names when it comes to financials doing fantastic. Semis are the ones that are kind of dragging us down a bit. FXI is something that I'm watching very, very closely to see if we get some strength into the end of the day. But we're still holding there as well. But yeah, just a lot of names. Our micro caps are still doing well. The small caps are still doing well. If we go to the heat map here, you can see again, pretty much everything mostly is green. It's just pulling back a little bit and trying to figure out when or if this pullback is going to end, and then just focusing on the stuff that's doing the best, the stuff that isn't pulling back very much. Defense and nuclear seem to be kind of the main themes today when it comes to just looking at the sectors. We have NLR, which again is just a whole bunch of nuclear and nuclear adjacent kind of name. So it has some uranium miners, has some nuclear plant operators and some utilities in there. And yeah, doing like that's an amazing candle, just gapped up and hasn't looked back all day, rallying up almost to today's high. So it'll be interesting to see if we get through that high as well.
Yeah, the battle's on right now. I think that the Qs could still go green towards the end of the day, and I think that you might see a battle where you can get the down action back towards 520, and then it starts to come back in the afternoon. So don't think about it just one way. Like I always like to say, if you look in the market, it's going to a lot of times try to shake both sides. And in this key, it could shake us going down to that 520, make the bulls feel like they're going to let it go, and then bring it back to Friday's low, right? Friday's lows all in the 519.70 area. So that's an area that I'd look to see if we get back to and then bounce off of it.
Absolutely. And I'm really liking Amazon. The more I look at it, I think that that's a setup that I really want to watch. I know mega caps are lagging, but I think that there's a lot of, it is testing a breakout, right? And it is, it's coiling right now under VWAP, and I think they're loading it up. That and Broadcom, AVGO, those are two ones that I think are going to start seeing some oomph here into close, getting a nice flow on them on the weeklies, which is always a good thing to see. It's a really pretty chart.
I hope you're right on AVGO because I'm in a bunch just because
nice.
It's an algorithm. I have a monthly rotation that just takes stocks and ranks them by certain factors and just puts me in whatever they were. And last month, AVGO made it to the list. So yeah, nice looking chart.
The weekly chart is incredible looking, honestly. The daily's a little bit sketchier on that accumulated or consolidation up here, but look at that. It's nice.
Yeah, and this one's it's not a chart play at all. It's just purely algorithmic and knock on wood, put me in a bunch and put me in after this move, which made me a little bit nervous. But one of those, you just have to hold your nose and follow the system, and in the long run, it will do all right.
It gapped up for a reason, right? There's reasons for it to keep going up.
Yeah. ARC is again still doing great. Again, just proving us that it is the mega cap tech, right? Because our ARC is a good way to look at it as instead of the good tech, the tech that is making money and is profitable and growing. ARC invests in the bad tech, the stuff that she thinks 10 years from now could do something well, and that did a little bit of a dip and rip there, right? Where it dipped off the open, closed the gap pretty much perfectly, and now we're sitting right at today's high. And then you compare that to the Qs, which is going to be weighted towards good tech, profitable tech, things like that. It's not nowhere near those highs. So still did the same kind of bear trap, whatever you want to call it, but yeah, holding up very, very nicely. So yes,
Michael, I did have one quick question, but I don't want to tangent you, so when you're done I'll circle back.
No, I'm good.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and we'll do closing statements also 10:56.
Okay, cool. In that case, I will save it for another time because I think it'll probably be a bit of a lengthy topic, but I'll make a note of it. For closing trades for me, Palantir, we've locked in half. Those are currently up 50% on those calls. Let's see. Palantir's doing very well. We got in right in this zone. Boom, bang, bang. We sold up here into VWAP. We are holding a runner. Very nice. MU, that's not MU. There's MU. That's not MU either. What's going on?
Doesn't like MU no more.
I still like it. I'm still in. I think we have room up to 110 on the higher time frame charts. It is breaking out, I do believe. So those are my two trades that I'm really watching that I'm in right now. That is currently down 30%, but that's why we play the game. So those are trades for me.
It's a good game, baby. All right. I'll go real quickly here. I got the VIX still open here. We'll see what happens on that trade. That's a 136 on the downside. Let me put my screen right quickly up here so you guys can see it. VIX still on. That's single trade. That's all I got because I didn't see a trend and I was already in a trade, so I just wrote it out, right? We'll see what happens on that to see if the Qs come down or up today. The way that I see it, I see this, right? Down 1, up 1, down 2, up 2, down 3, up 3, back through 523. That breakout to the upside looks a lot better. Then back below the 522s here with a close on the 5-minute would be the kind of scaring out the bulls moment. We'll see what happens. Just recently a wick to 521.55. You can see us trying to come back to the VWAP there. That could be the break back through 523. That's a third or fourth resistance test. That's when I usually look to see patterns start to break. We'll see what happens there. And then on the other account, good trade on in the smaller account with Churro. Churro making me 184. So CHRO, which has pulled back to the $3, has been sticking on to there on the 5-minute. We'll see if it starts to recover and does a little bit of a cup and handle. That's going to do it for me, guys. Like always, we'll keep battling. Like always, guys, we'll see what happens in the market to see if we get another breakout. But it seems like we're getting that right now. Now, the only question is, can it hold?
Yeah, for me quickly, again, I've got that long Qs, right? I took a shot at the VWAP the first time and got a break even trade. And then I took a shot as we broke this VWAP here. So I'm up a few bucks on it, but really nothing. Just going to risk under this level. I'm going to see if we break through highs here. For the long term, I just wanted to point out that there's a lot of strong stuff out there. So that's what I'll be spending my day doing. Even if the market, the Qs does close down or doesn't bounce from here. There's a lot of different names like XAR. Look at this. This is defense just breaking out, going crazy. We have nuclear, which is fantastic. And then this Jets continues to make new highs. So I own a couple names in here already, but I may look to buy more just because we're doing so well. So very much a take a look under the hood to see what's going on. Don't look too much at just the big cap weighted name, big tech weighted names like the SPY and the Qs. Do a little research, grab a list of ETFs and start going through that. I think that will be very useful for traders today.
And we'll see what happens around out there. There was some stocks that definitely had a good day today. We'll see the quantum names didn't do bad, right? So maybe that's part of the Trump stocks. We'll continue to watch. I think we got to look to see what has a day 2 style move, right? So day 1 today, we'll have a day 2 tomorrow. We'll review those stocks all throughout the week because I think these are stocks that could be stocks to trade throughout the week, right? Not just today. Quantum names still looking good. Tempest AI doing good, right? So we'll see what happens with the space and the defensive names. Lockheed Martin, I don't think was on the top of everybody's Trump plays, but you can clearly see it today getting a nice little lift. RTX getting a nice little lift. Maybe we look into how that defense spending is going, how that look is looking to expand here. We'll see what happens there. Like always, guys, you guys can catch us tomorrow. Stay right here. And of course, if you don't follow our Discord already, that's where you want to be. That's where you want to go right after this stream, right? That's where the traders stick around all day long. Like always, for myself, Money Mitch, Michael Noss, and of course, Steve, give Justy Trades a good follow. We'll see you guys back tomorrow. And like always, keep battling in the markets, guys. There's not one way, but one thing's for certain. The question is, who's getting out of the pool today? Half B, half green, half red. What you guys got? Green Day? Green Days?
Green Day. Let's go.
Green Days.
Let's go.
Green Days for sure.
Let's go. Always good to see. See you guys back tomorrow.